Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayintheNFL.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayintheNFL.com.
Along with Irv Cupton is saying, welcome to professional football with the Chicago Bears. Today, again, we're broadcasting direct from Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears will meet the Minnesota Vikings. And we'll have Cup's opening lineups in just a few minutes. This game is brought to you by Household Finance. Come on into HFC, where people use their money to get the most out of life. Your Chicagoland solid men of old. They're the guys to see for solid engineering, solid driving comfort, and solid old service and value. That's what makes Oldsmobile a solid Oldsmobile. And by the G. Hardeman Brewing Company of La Crosse, Wisconsin, makers of Old Style, the pure brewed beer from God's country.
Let's throw a big New Year's Eve party in the family room. We'll invite...
Phyllis, we don't have a family room.
We could by then.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
When extra money's keeping you from getting something you really want, apply for an HFC loan of up to $10,000. You could be enjoying what you want right away. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC. You can use our money to get where you want to be. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
For a large or small loan, phone or visit Household Finance. 65 offices in the Chicago area, offices in all major cities in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Well, Cup, the pump primer has to be yours because you're the political expert and the political historian in this booth today.
Well, I'm a little bit amazed that our good friend, sports editor Jack Rosenberg, didn't come up with something more fitting in Halloween. This is Halloween. Trick-or-treat day. We hope it's going to be a treat for the Bears and pull a trick on the Vikings. But this is what Mr. Rosenberg has offered. The Bears and the Minnesotas staged their own pre-election Gallup poll today. Walter Payton will gallop for the Bears, Chuck Foreman will gallop for the Vikings, and the undecided elements will settle the race. Well, that's not bad. But anyway,
not
Rosie,
exactly a time capsule job, but it gets us off to a decent start.
Anyway, the Bears will give you their offensive lineup today, and as you know, they have the toss of the coin in just a few seconds, so we really don't know who is going to receive or kick. But here's the Bears on offense. It'll be Brian Baschnagel at wide receiver, Lionel Antoine left tackle, Noah Jackson at left guard, Dan Neal at center, Ravi Sawry at right guard, Jeff Seavey at right tackle, Greg Latta at the tight end. James Scott will start as a wide receiver today. Bob Avellini back at quarterback after a very tough week last Sunday. And Roland Harper and Walter Payton, the running backs. For the Vikings on defense, it'll be that great foursome, Carl Eller, Doug Sutherland, Alan Page, and Jim Marshall. Jim Marshall, of course, holds the record for consecutive played games. He played his 217th game last Sunday, which set a new record. Matt Blair will be the left linebacker. Jeff Seaman will be the middle linebacker. Wally Hilgenberg, the great veteran, the right linebacker. Nate Allen and Nate Wright will be the cornerbacks, and Jeff Wright and Paul Krause will be the safety man. For the officiating team today, the referee will be Bernie Ullman. The umpire will be Tony Kramer. The head linesman Tony Verteri. The line judge Bill Reynolds. The back judge Ben Tompkins. And the field judge Pat Millett. They're having the coin toss. Minnesota won the toss. They will receive, and so our Bears will be kicking off in just a moment. And for a brief little recap, a very brief recap, as you remember on October 10th, the Bears played at Minnesota, and the Bears came out of the first half trading 17-0. It looked like a rout, but the Bears won the second half 19-3, lost the ball game 20-19 in the game in which we missed 2 extra points, and our punter, Mr. Parsons, had 3 consecutive punts of under 20 yards, all of which contributed to that defeat. But today we're facing a very, very strong Minnesota ball club. Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to have our national anthem played by the University of Wisconsin Marching Band with Lee Pelty, the great Chicago singer, doing the rendition.
Oh,
long ago it was that some proud father came back from his solid men of old and described his new car to his son as being solid. But solid is a description that seems to have grown through the years. We just want to remind you that the latest in this continuing series of solid cars, service, and deals awaits your test drive now at your Chicagoland Solid Men of Old. Want to find out what solid really feels like? Come test drive an Olds today at your Chicagoland Solid Men of Old. Solid.
Now that the 77s are here, this will be a good time for you to visit your Chicagoland Solid Men of Old. See what made the Cutlass the best-selling model of any make in 1976. One drive and you'll see why it promises to be a solid leader again this year. Well, the deep men are going to be Willis and Sammy White. Willis is actually in the center. He's standing right at the goal line as Thomas tees up the ball. He's kicking south. There's the boot from the 35. It carries pretty well. It's going to be taken by Willis. This is his 9th kickoff return of the year. He's at the 5, the 10, the 15. And he's slowed up at the 20 and down at the 20 or 21-yard line. Slowed up on that play by dashing down there onto that one. Johnny Musso of the Bears. And Adam Lee helped bring him down. So it's going to be 1st and 10. Minnesota's ball now on their own 20-yard line. Fran Tarkenton, the great Fran Tarkenton, quarterbacking for the Minnesota Vikings. And the Bears on the rush up front are going to have fellows like Hartenstein, Osborne, Rydalch. Wally Chambers is going to be playing at defensive right end today, I notice. Okay. In motion. The wide receiver on the play, the handoff this time. Going now to Brent McClanahan. Off right tackle he goes. Pulls forward for just a few yards on the play for the 24.
Wayman Bryant got in there for a good play, and the good observation. Chambers is playing a defensive right end today because Stillwell is out and will not play, and Barry, his replacement, has been ill this week, Jack, with a touch of flu.
It's going to be 2nd down 6 now. And the deep men, of course, are still McClanahan and also the great Chuck Foreman. Wide receivers left and right. And the flanker on the right side from Minnesota, Sammy White, goes in motion on this play. Handoff this time to McClanahan again. There was a fumble on the play. Boy, that was close. He got across the 25 to about the 26 or 7-yard line. Looked like Wayman was the bottom man again, Cup.
And Wayman Bryant and Ross Brubaker both got in there together on that play to stop it and almost created a fumble.
3rd down, 3 yards to go. So here's a 3rd down efficiency situation. Minnesota this year has made the 1st down in this situation 40% of the time. In the meantime, their opponents have only done it 30% of the time, which is also, by the way, just about what the Bears have done this year on that 3rd down efficiency category, which has become very, very important. Now we have Sammy White wide to the left. We have the pro set. Now White goes in motion to his right on this play. Here's Tarkenton, looks for a receiver. It's a lob pass, but it's accurate. White has it. Out of bounds he goes. And Sammy White has just caught his 26th pass of the year, the number 9 pass catcher in the conference so far, and they got their 1st down.
And Virgil Livers was right there to push him out of bounds on a good coverage. He couldn't stop the pass, but he did get him out of bounds very promptly.
It is now 1st and 10 Minnesota. They have the ball on their own 34-yard line, huddling back on the 25. Bears breaking huddle. Livers cornerback on the right, Ellis on the left. Although Ellis now moves over here to the right, and he wants to pick up, it looks like, the slot man, White, in a one-on-one on this play. Here's the handoff. McClanahan again. Foreman has not handled the ball yet. It's McClanahan, and he gets to the 35-yard line. Brought to a standing stop and forced back very fast, and Doug Plank was safety blitzing on that one.
That's right. Give Doug credit. He came up very fast there from his safety position to make a very classic tackle. Shoulder right into the ribs.
We're just underway here at Soldiers Field in Chicago. Trotting in for the Bears now is Myers. And coming out is Rydalch, so Jerry Myers will be doing a little bit of rushing on this play. Jerry Myers, a rookie from Northern Illinois. It is now 2nd down, 8. Give him 2 on the last play. Here's Tarkenton dropping back inside the 30, and he's going to run with the ball, looks like, and he's nailed. Fran Tarkenton started to run with the ball, but Hartenstein and Myers seemed to close that gap in a hurry on that one. Looked like Fran had a pretty good hole for a minute.
That's right, but Jerry Myers came in there fast and did a very good job.
Put the ball now at the 36-yard line. No gain on that last play to amount to anything. 12:28 to go in the 1st quarter. We have no score. Jimmy Osborne is out. Chambers, Rydalch is back in. Royce Berry, the right end now on the defense for the Bears, and Hartenstein on the left side. Looks like they're going to be mixing up those defensive rushmen pretty much today. Very wide to the left of this place is Ahmed Rashad. Sammy White's a flanker out to the right. Foreman on the right. And McClanahan on the left in the pro set. Here's the snap by Tingelhoff. Back goes Fran Tarkenton. He looks, he throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. Wayman Bryant making a good dive to prevent Brent McClanahan from making that catch.
That's right. Give Wayman Bryant a credit for that one. He got a finger on the ball, just pushed it beyond the possible reception by Minnesota there.
Well, he's off to a better start than he left off last week. Dallas handled him pretty good, Chuck.
Yes, he had a bad day last week against Dallas. He was in when he was supposed to be deep, and he was deep when he was supposed to be in. One of those days where everything went wrong. But today he looks like he's come alive.
Now the kicker for the Minnesota Vikings is Clabo. He's the number 3 man in the conference with an average of 41.5. A little edge over Parsons, and of course in that last game, quite an edge. The deep man for the Bears is Virgil Livers. He gets the kick away at the 26 and almost had it blocked by Larry Schreiber. As a matter of fact, it was hurried somewhat, and it's no bargain. The Bears are going to wind up with good field position because this ball goes out of bounds at the Bear 32-yard line. Pretty good rush. 32 yards, net from scrimmage for the Bears on that play. So the Bears, for the first time today, take over on the offense. 1st and 10. Bears ball. They're going to put the ball at the 33-yard line. And the quarterback for the Bears is Avellini. Scott is in there as one of the wide receivers. And we see Walter Payton is going to start. He's been over in that huddle right now. Out of the huddle they come. Over the ball, of course, Neal. In the I formation, the front man is Harper. Right behind him, Walter Payton. Flanked out to the right is Scott on this play. Strong side right, Greg Latta, tight right end. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Harper. Rowland tries off right guard and moves across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Eller, bottom man, it looked like on that one with a little help from the next Sutherland also.
And Jeff Wright came up there, Jack. They didn't move Eller at all. A very tough man to move, of course. One of the stalwarts of the Minnesota Purple People Eaters, and he was not moved, and Jeff Wright came up to put the clincher on.
2nd down, 7. 3 yards on the play. The Bears moving the ball on the ground for 3 yards on the first play. Noah Jackson, left guard. Right guard, Reeve Soares. CV right tackle on the play. Antoine left tackle. Strong side left for the Bears. Latta still in there. Schubert goes in motion from the slot to the left. And here is Avellini dropping back at the sideline pass. And it's dropped by Harper. He had it right in his hand. That should have been a catch. He was open. The Bears called the right play on that one, and everything was right except he dropped the ball.
And he even had good time there. Antoine did a good job on Jim Marshall, the grand old veteran. He kept him out of there with a very good block. Jim Marshall, incidentally, has played 218 consecutive games with the Minnesota Vikings. He started today his 219th. He started every game that this team has played.
Bashnagel wide to the left on this one now for the Bears. Scott wide to the right. It's 3rd and long yardage. The Bears have made this first down in this situation 30% of the time this year. And there may be a flag down on this play. I'm not sure. Here's Avellini throwing a sideline pass intended for Harper, out of bounds, out of his reach. And apparently everybody who started across that line got back before the ball was snapped, but it looked like Eller and Marshall were both moving a little early on the play, but they did jump back in time. Now it's going to be 3rd down for the Bears. There might be a walk-off at that. Hey, they did call the offside. Well, I'm still looking for the first flag. And here's going to be the walk-off. It's 5 yards. That puts the ball now at the 41-yard line of the Bears.
And 3rd and 2, Jack. That makes it a little different.
Yeah, sure. 3rd down now. 2 yards to go for a first down. And the Bears may get their first down of the afternoon. Here's a big play now for Chicago. Let's see if they give the ball to Walter or to Harper. Anyway, Avellini over the ball, strong side right. Greg Latta right in on the play, flanked out to the right, and a halfback on the play is Scott. Schubert up on the line. There goes Scott in motion to the left. Harper on the left. Payton on the left, and here's Walter, and he may have made that first down. It's going to be close. Head down. He really knifed hard to try to avoid the desperate lunge of Carl Eller, who appeared to have the blocking frustrated on the play.
Matt Blair came up there, too, to help Carl Eller, but I think our little friend Payton slipped under them for enough yardage for the first down, Jack. It's going to be a measurement, apparently. Let's see, they have not made a decision yet. They're coming out to measure it, yes. And Payton did what he does so best, Jack. He slips under these big men. He's small, he's compact, and he can do that, and always good for a yard or two extra.
Walter is still the number 1 rush man in the conference in 157 carries, 735 yards, an average of 4.7 going into this one. And they did make it. You can tell by the reaction of the crowd, I'm sure, in the background. So the Bears have 1st and 10 now on their 43-yard line. 10:57 to go in the first quarter. We have no score. The Bears and the Minnesota Vikings on the defense for Minnesota. You have fellows like Marshall, Page, Sutherland, and Eller up front. Now, there was a chance that Hilgenberg might not be able to play today, but I see he is in there at right linebacker. Otherwise, they would have put the left linebacker over there instead. That would have been Matt Blair, and used McNeil. Here's a handoff to Waller, sweeps the right side, forced out of bounds at midfield. Good pursuit angle on the play by Blair and by Nate Wright coming up in the secondary. And that's going to put the ball now just about at midfield. Give the Bears 8 on the play. It's going to be second down. 2 yards to go for a first down. A little over 2. Put the ball actually at the 49-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Second down. A little over 2 yards to go for that first down. Well, of course, in the previous game, they found out they could get to Minnesota by rushing right at their strength, rushing right at the Ellers and the Pages. This time they seem to be trying to sweep a little bit. There goes Harper in motion to the left. A handoff to Walter, drops the football, and there's a scramble, and it looks like that football is going to belong to the Minnesota Vikings. They did. It was Krause who caught the ball. The ball squirted right out of Walter's hands, squirted forward for several yards. As a matter of fact, it avoided several desperate lunges, and Krause, coming up from his secondary post, was able to land the ball. And so, the Minnesota Vikings take over now on their own 38-yard line.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bears.
No score. Back with more action in just a minute.
If all you need is money, come on into HFC. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
We're Household Finance, and last year we helped over 2 million people get the most out of life. For some, it was a dream vacation. For others, a stereo system, a snowmobile, or the car they really wanted. But we found a way to help them all. So,
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
At Household Finance Corporation, you may borrow up to $10,000 on a wide variety of repayment plans. HFC has 65 offices in the Chicago area. See your phone book. By the way, give that last fumble recovery to Wright.
38-yard line.
Both he and Krause were diving for the ball, and they've given it to Wright. So now, Minnesota's ball. First and 10 to go in their 38. We have no score in the first quarter here. Here's Tarkenton doing a full pivot, and here's a flag down back of the line of scrimmage. A tackle also at the line of scrimmage made by Jimmy Osborne after Foreman catches the ball. It could be, we'll see, maybe a penalty against the Minnesota Vikings. Generally, a flag down in the backfield like that will indicate holding or clipping or something on the part of the offensive ball club. That's what it is. It's a holding penalty against Minnesota. Now it's up to the Bears to see if they want to accept it. There was no gain on the play, and a down was used up, of course. The Bears have decided they will accept the penalty. Offensive holding. That puts the ball back down the 28-yard line, 10-yard wrap, and that's going to make it now first down and 20 for the Minnesota Vikings, fairly well back in their own territory. I know 10 yards is hard to turn down, Cup, but I would have a tendency to want to see Minnesota use up the down, especially when they made no gain on the play.
Yeah. Early in the game, though, Jack, they want to force them back as far as they can, hope they get good field position on the next punt.
10:22 to go in the first quarter. McClanahan on the right, Foreman on the left. Here's the snap, the handoff to Chuck. And as he tries right tackle, there's a real pile-up. Man, did he run into a stone wall on that one. He had tremendous momentum going for him. As a matter of fact, Ron Yeri trying to block for him did a masterful effort. But he just couldn't move that.
They couldn't move Rideouts particularly. Rideouts came in there now. Whenever Chambers goes to right end on this kind of a makeshift lineup the Bears are using on defense, Rideouts is in there at tackle, and Chambers is playing end on certain plays. And Rideouts was the one they couldn't handle, and he made a beautiful play there.
Second down, 20. The scoreboard says third and 20. That's not correct. They did not get charged with a down when they took the penalty. Okay, back goes Tarkenton. Back to the 21. Throws the sideline pass. He throws to Foreman, who drops the ball. Chuck Foreman, who, by the way, is the number one pass receiver in the conference, with 30 going into the action today, averaging 11.1 yards per catch.
That's a rarity, Jack. When Chuck Foreman drops a ball, he's one of the better receivers in the league, and of course he's leading among backs in receiving passes. Last week he had a great day against Philadelphia, Jack. He gained 200 yards, six passes, and 2 touchdowns.
Well, everybody had a good day against Philadelphia. Of course, Foreman established or tied a team record It is now going to be third down for the Bears. And back goes, and here's a handoff this time to Foreman on the trap play. They thought they could maybe catch the Bears by surprise, but the Bears, who tried that same effort against Dallas and found it very frustrating, this time were able to turn the tables, and the ball carrier, Foreman, stopped at the 30-yard line.
That's right. Give Osborne and Rideouts credit once again, and also middle linebacker Reeves was a very good factor in that play.
Fourth down, 19 to go for a first down. Minnesota ready to punt. Leiber standing on his own 40-yard line. They should wind up with very good field position here. Here's a wobbly boot. The wind does it no favors. Leiber has it at midfield. He's at the 45 and down. Whoo, boy. He took that on the dead run and then was nailed hard by Amos Martin, the reserve linebacker, a 5-year vet from Louisville. And so a 22-yard boot and a 7-yard return, 15 yards net to Minnesota. That sounds like the Bears' punting average up there at Minnesota the last time. No score. Back with more action in just a minute.
What makes Old Style a great light beer? Where it's brewed and how it's brewed. That's why Old Style is double brewed in God's country, where the water is crystal clear and flows from springs deep beneath the floor of a beautiful valley, some say all the way from Canada. With water this pure, when you brew a beer once, you've got a good beer. But when you brew a beer twice, you've got a great light beer. This double brewing process is called krausening. Krausening is a traditional old-world process, the most natural way to brew beer, and the most expensive. Try Old Style, pure brewed in God's country.
G. Heilemann Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
So for the first time now, the Bears own the ball in Viking territory. Bears have the ball first and 10 on the Viking 45-yard line. Avellini still quarterback, front man in the I formation. Is Harper right behind him is Payton. Now they switch with Payton going in motion to the left. Here's a fake handoff, and here's a play-action pass, but the ball dropped by Scott out in the flat. Well, Jimmy Scott, figured to catch that ball because it wasn't thrown all that far. For one thing, it wasn't thrown off the mark for another.
But whether he caught it or dropped it probably didn't make any difference, Jack, because the Minnesota line was right in front of him there. They had formed deeply to stop that screen, and so he didn't have a chance to go much. Here is the early score. Detroit has taken a 3-0 lead over Green Bay in the first quarter. Green Bay, Detroit, and the Bears all go into the Sunday's action with 3-4 records.
Schubert wide left, Scott wide right, front man of the eye. Again is Harper, and again Payton goes in motion. Same formation as before. Handoff to Harper, and Rowland moves off right guard, trying to move behind Noah Jackson on the play. He got inside the 45 and got 2 or 3 on the play, but not anything to really write home about.
Matt Blair, who's been a thorn in our side for all this season so far, came up again to make a very good tackle. It was the man who stopped the play.
Bobby Bryant, one of the cornerbacks, a veteran, has come in now from the sideline, so they've replaced Hilgenberg, the linebacker, with him to give him an extra defensive back on what appears to be a passing situation at 3rd and 8. 8:22 to go in the first quarter. We have no score. Now Scott goes in motion from his flanker position on the right out to the left. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Payton, and Payton moves off left tackle. He's at the 40-yard line, and again, the running play does not do the job. It appeared to be a passing situation, and the Bears were trying the so-called surprise tactic. It didn't work at all. And now it's going to be 4th down, 5 yards to go for a first down for the Bears at the 40-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings.
Nobody took Mr. Allen on that play. Nate Allen, he was standing right there in front of Payton in the secondary, and nobody came out to block him, so Payton ran right into his arms, and that ended that threat.
So Bob Parsons is going to kick now, and it'll be hopefully a little better kick than he came up with for the most part against the Vikings last time they played 3 weeks ago. There's the boot. It's high. It hangs up there a long time, and let's see if the Bears can stop it before it goes in the end zone. I believe they did. Oh, boy. Steve Schubert, nailed that ball for the Bears on about the 3-yard line. And consequently, it's Minnesota's ball deep in their own hole as a result of a 37-yard net boot from scrimmage for Bob Parsons, who, by the way, his number 11 ranked punter at 37.8.
Well, that was
A very, very good play indeed, Cup. Hold the remarks, though, because with timeout, we'll be back with more action in just a minute.
Let's throw a big New Year's Eve party in the family room. We'll invite...
Phyllis, we don't have a family room.
We could by then.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
When extra money's keeping you from getting something you really want, apply for an HFC loan of up to $10,000. You could be enjoying what you want right away. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC. You can use our money to get where you want to be. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
For a large or small loan, phone or visit Household Finance. 65 offices in the Chicago area. Offices in all major cities in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So it's a Vikings ball, 1st and 10 now on their own 3-yard line. No score. 7:27 remaining in the first quarter, so Tarkenton has to move his ball club out of a tough hole. Here's the handoff to Foreman from his left halfback position. He gets across the 5, maybe to the 7, no more than the 7 or 8 yard line. Big pile up of players as he tried that slant play. It looks like your old pal Rydal's in on that one.
absolutely. Once again, Rydalk is playing a magnificent game here at tackle. He comes in on certain situations, largely running plays, and he has been magnificent so far today.
All right, give him 3 on the play. 2nd down, 7 yards to go. The ball is now at the 6-yard line. Vikings out. Tingelhoff. 209 games over the ball now. Under him, of course, Tarkenton, McClanahan on the right, Foreman on the left. In that pro set backfield, the handoff to McClanahan. Over the middle he goes, and it's going to be very, very close to a first down. I believe he got it. That was a very, very good counter play. Clemens was the fellow who finally had to accept the responsibility of the tackle on that one because they did a very good blocking job on the Bear defensive rush.
They took out the Bears on a beautiful trap play there, and it's up to Craig, the safety man, and Ellis, the halfback, to come up there to make the tackle, and they converge on the ball carrier.
The ball is now almost at the 15-yard line. We'll call it the 15, 1st and 10. Vikings out of the hole. They can breathe a little better now. Once again, Tarkenton barks it out. Here's the snap. It's McClanahan, and Chambers makes him cough up the football. There's a battle for the ball at the 10-yard line. The Vikings have recovered. The Vikings have recovered, and it was Sammy White who recovered the ball. Hey, how about that one, Cup? That was fun.
And Doug Plank came within a shade of recovering that fumble himself. The Minnesota man got under him and beat him to the ball, but Plank, who was coming up fast from his safety position, was in position for the recovery, but the Minnesota man beat him to it.
Wally Chambers from his defensive right end position doing the job. The ball is back on the 11-yard line. 2nd down now. 14 to go. 4-yard loss and almost the loss of a football. Once again, Tarkenton drops back. He's rolling out to the right. He's scrambling. Now he throws, and he hits his man at the 22-yard line. He hits Steve Craig, the alumnus from Northwestern University, a 3-year vet in this league. And that was a good over-the-shoulder catch by Steve, who so far has caught only 2 passes all year. That's his 2nd catch all year. I'm amazed.
That's right. Reeves brought him down. Reeves was covering him, and he just got to step on Reeves, and Tarkenton, with his usual accuracy, took advantage of that one step and hit the man perfectly.
3rd down 1. Let's see if the Bears can hold them inside 1 yard here, because if they do, most assuredly, Minnesota will have to give up that football. It's going to be hard to prevent the Vikings from making 1 yard with the line of scrimmage now. The 24, they're desperate for the 1 to get that fresh set of downs. Here's Tarkenton barking it out. Here's the snap. It is Foreman, and he hurdles off right guard across the 25 to the 27. Nobody's going to stop him, including the bottom man on the tackle, Reeves.
Nobody had to stop him, actually. He leaped over the line and just landed on his arms and body, and so the ball was dead at that spot. The Bears didn't have to make a tackle, but Mr. Foreman had picked up the first down, which was his objective.
That can be a dangerous way to try to pick up yardage when you go like that, Cup. I know, because I've seen guys get their legs chopped out from under them pretty good on that one. 1st and 10, no. They have the ball at the 27-yard line. The Vikings showing why they're a leader Coming out of this tough jam, here's McClanahan off right guard. There's a big pile up and little gain, if any, on the play.
That's right. They couldn't move the left side of the Bear line, and once again, Rideouts was right there under the pile, and so was Mike Hartenstein. They did a very good job in stopping McClanahan on that play. The offensive line was unable to move the defensive left side of the Bear line.
We have no score in the football game. 3:50 to go in the first quarter now. WGN Radio Chicago, first in sound, first in service, first in sports. Out of the huddle they come. Wide to the right is Sammy White. McClanahan on the left, Foreman on the right, and the pro set on this one. The Bears with 5 men on the rush right now. Here's the snap, here's a lob pass, and it's way over the head of McClanahan out here in the flat. Virgil Livers, as a matter of fact, probably would have hit McClanahan pretty hard had he caught that football, because Virgil had a full head of steam, and that pass was really a hot air balloon, as I heard one guy describe that pass to Golden Richards last week.
Fran Tarkenton just went over to McClanahan, and they kind of got their signals mixed up. I think Burt expected him to continue running out here in the flat while McClanahan had stopped, and so the ball went over his head. A little confusion there, which doesn't happen too often with Fran Tarkenton.
3rd down and 9. Big play coming up. Bob Grimm is in. He's wide to the right. Rejoined the ball club, the Vikings, this week. Used to be with the Bears, as you know. Here's the snap, and it's Foreman, and he is nailed. Oh, is he nailed this time? By Jimmy Osborne.
Terrific charge by Osborne. My God, he almost hit Foreman before Foreman got the ball there. A beautiful play by the Bear defensive line, especially by Osborne, but it takes teamwork. Somebody else has to help him get that big opening there, and they did, and so he hit Foreman for a total loss there. And now it's a punting situation, Jack, so once again, the Bears may get good field position.
4th and 14, the punter is punting against the wind. Livers standing at the 45 of the Bears, and Bashnagel up on the 45 of the Minnesota Vikings, just in case it's a bad boot. Perfect pass to center, gets the kick away from the 19. There's the boot, it's no bargain. Over to the right side, out of bounds in Minnesota territory. So I don't mean this is a bad punt, but punting-wise, the shoe was on the other foot today. 16 yards net on that punt. Last time, of course, 3 weeks ago, it was the Chicago Bear punter Parsons who was having all that trouble with punts. As Cup told you, 3 punts under 20 yards. But now, the Bears have the ball, the best field position anybody's had yet. 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 39-yard line. Bashnagel wide to the left. Avellini quarterbacking. Here goes Scott in motion out to the left. So you're flooding the left side with eligible receivers. Here's a handoff. It goes to Payton. There's a big hole in the right tackle spot. He's at the 30, the 25, the 20, the 15, inside the 10. Forced out of bounds. But not before he passed the flag. It's a touchdown for the Bears. Walter Payton racing around the right side for 39 yards and a touchdown. He was forced out at the coffin corner, but he managed to fight inside, and brother watch. Oh, if you could just watch this bench now, they're going crazy here as Payton comes back. As Walter gets inside, he managed just at the very, very last fraction of a second to avoid going out of bounds on about the 4-yard line. He jumped inside, just inside the coffin corner flag there. I thought for a minute he'd gone out of bounds. He may not have gone out of bounds, but he was very close to it. But anyway, he was in there. There's the boot, and Thomas kicked it. It is good. There'll be no blocking of Mr. Thomas on that one. And so, with 2:41 to go in the first quarter, the Bears, for a change, are out in front of somebody. The Bears 7 and the Green Bay Packers. And the Detroit Lions are having themselves a pretty good battle of it, too, I understand, up there.
Detroit is leading 3-0 over Green Bay in the first quarter. Kansas City is leading Tampa Bay 3-0 in the first quarter. And here we've seen the evidence where a punt can be a very important weapon. A beautiful punt by Parsons put the ball on the Minnesota 3-yard line. Minnesota had trouble extracting itself, and then a poor punt gave the Bears good position, and then a perfect play by Walter Payton, sweeping around him with some beautiful blocking and some great open field running by himself, gave the Bears a touchdown and a 6-0 lead. Thomas converted, and it's now 7-0. Position plays a very important factor, and the punts, both good and bad, were factors in this last touchdown by the Bears.
Well, Leonard Willis is the deep man now, and here's the kick by Thomas. It carries fairly well. Leonard's going to take it at the 5. He's at the 10. Cuts to his right at the 15. Parallel with the 20s. Outruns somebody at the 25 up to the 30, and finally hit and knocked down on the far side of the field with a good diving waist-high tackle by Steve Schubert. And credit Willis with a very, very good run back on that one. He swept around that right side really well for 33 yards on that kickoff return.
The Bears almost made a classical blunder on that kickoff return, Jack. They forgot to cover their left side, and that's where the Minnesota team took advantage and picked up all that yardage. The left side was completely left open.
1st and 10 on the 36-yard line of the Vikings. Bears ahead 7-0. 2:29 to go in the first quarter. Here's Tarkenton. He looks for his man, and he's got him. It's Grimm. Bob Graham on a good slant play, jumping high in the air to catch the ball, waist high, and I think he took it away from Doug Plank, who thought he was going to be able to get him for 12 yards.
Beautiful play. Plank was beaten by the man, and he did commit himself a little bit too soon, and Grimm took advantage of that and got open, and Tarkenton hit the ball right on the button.
1st and 10 now. Bears on the rush. We'll have Chambers at right end, Rydalch and Osborne the inside men. On the left side is Hartenstein, middle linebacker Reeves. On the left, Brubacher, and on the right, Wayman Bryant. Wayman's up on the line of scrimmage, giving him a 5-man rush now. Sammy White in motion, a handoff to McClanahan. He is nailed back on the line of scrimmage. 3 men rushing him hard.
Give Bryant credit for another fine play at Jack. He was practically on the line of scrimmage, sensed the play, read it correctly, and was right there to make the tackle.
Okay, put the ball now at 2nd and 11. They lost a yard. Well, we'll give them their line of scrimmage on it. Call it 2nd down 10. Bears ahead by a 7-0 score. The line of scrimmage now is just across the 48. We'll call it the 49-yard line. 1:20 to go in the first quarter here at Soldiers Field. Here's Tarkenton rolling out to his right, gets protection from Tingoff, throws a wobbly pass, which is caught by Foreman across midfield at the Bear 48, waltzed out of bounds on the far side by Reeves and Brubacher, who both got the pursuit angle on him on the play.
Good play on defense there. They held the gain to a minimum, and Foreman made a very good catch on that play. Reached up with one arm to control the ball. It was not thrown well by Tarkenton. Foreman is a super receiver, and he brought it in for the short gain.
3rd down 5. Another long yardage situation, fairly long. 3rd down 5. A little over 5, closer to 5.5. Let's see if the Bears can hold the Minnesota Vikings here and make them give up that football. White is wide to the right. He's picked up in a one-on-one by Allen Ellis, who seemed to be zeroing in on White most of the day today. He's following him all around. Here's a handoff to Foreman. He's nailed. He's nailed back of the line of scrimmage. A loss on the play, and Ron Yeri was really bumped out of the way in a hurry on that one, trying to block.
Give Jimmy Osborne credit once again. He came through there practically on a blitz and met Foreman just as soon as he got the ball from the quarterback. That's twice now that Osborne has done that. And he's going to be a thorn in the side of the Minnesota Vikings and Foreman particularly today.
Okay, that's going to make it 4th down. 7 yards to go. They lost about 1.5 yards on that play. And now we have a timeout with 15 seconds to go in the quarter. The Bears have a timeout.
All right, the Bears are playing surprisingly good football here today. They have taken a 7-0 lead over the Minnesota Vikings, maybe one of the best team in the league today.
And the reason for the timeout, I'm sure, is because the Bears want to make them punt against the wind with 15 seconds to go in the quarter.
Absolutely, that'll help their field position once again. Let's recap just a moment because the touchdown was scored on a brilliant, scintillating run by Walter Payton, who broke off right end for 39 yards. Had some good blocking to get him past the line of scrimmage, and then by the dint of some very fancy footwork himself, it became, hey, trick or treat for the Chicago Bears and a 7-0 lead over the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings come into this game as the only undefeated team in the league. They have a record of 6-0-1. That means 6 victories, no defeats, and 1 tie. The Bears are 3-4. Jack, we're back in action for the punt.
Play ball is back to Boot. He should get the kick away at about the 42-yard line. Livers back inside the 15 for the Bears.
Revenge. What a penalty against the Vikings. I didn't see.
Illegal procedures ruled, Cap. What's Tarkenton got there, Cup?
He's completed 5 out of 7 for 59 yards, and he only needed 91 going into today's game to pass up Johnny Unitas as the all-time record holder among passers. So it's a good hunch that before this day is over, he will emerge as the new passing champion of the National Football League.
And, of course, the illegal procedure penalty is declined by the Bears, forcing the Vikings to use up the down, and now becomes 3rd down and 8. It was on Charlie Goodrum, the left guard. Moved a little bit too soon, and here goes Tarkenton rolling back, and he's sacked. Osborne got through.
Give Osborne credit once again. What a game he's having. Ed White of the Minnesota Vikings tried to help him, but he certainly couldn't touch Osborne. He raced right past him. Osborne has 8 sacks so far this season. He's doing a tremendous job, and he's had about 4 individual tackles so far today. And what a game he's having. Now, that happens when they concentrate on stopping Wally Chambers. And, of course, that gives Osborne a little break. They're double-teaming Chambers as often as possible, giving Osborne a little break, and he's taking advantage of it.
Play ball will have to kick from just about his 42-yard line. Livers deep for the Bears. Nobody rushing. They don't want to risk an injury, or rather a penalty. And the ball is out of bounds. A very, very well-aimed kick and a lucky bounce for Minnesota. And the ball goes out of bounds inside the 10-yard line, down at about the 6 or 7, 43 yards net. But there's a flag on the play.
Could be an ineligible man down the field, Jack. We'll take a look here and get the signal in just a moment.
Well, let me put it this way, Cup. If there isn't an illegal man downfield, I'm going to be real surprised because it happens more often than not. This is one they're having a lot of trouble trying to really regulate this year. The teams appear to be making a mistake now and then. However, there's also a personal foul indicated on this play, and this one is against the Bears. Now, if there was an illegal man downfield,
there wasn't.
I didn't see the sign on it.
No, there wasn't.
Otherwise, you would have had offsetting penalties. So apparently there was not an illegal man downfield. They have ruled personal foul against the Chicago Bears, and it's now going to be 1st and 10 for the Bears with the ball way back on the Chicago Bear 3-yard line. In that case, of course, the foul came after the Bears got control of the ball, which means that the Bears keep the ball, but have to accept the penalty. The Bears are ahead 7-0. 11:35 to go in the first half. The foul was on Doug Plank, who, as Ross Feetner, the coach, says, when he's back there, will hit anything that wiggles. Here's a handoff to Adamley, sweeps around the left side, and Mike gets himself up to about the 5-yard line on that play, trying to get the Bears out of the hole.
And Mr. Hilgenberg was in there to help make the tackle, and Nate Allen stuck out an arm. Jeff Seaman, and Nate Allen stuck out an arm there and just tripped up Adam Lee.
Okay, that's going to make it 2nd down. Give them one of the plays. 2nd down, 9 yards to go. They've spotted the ball back at the 4-yard line. Bears huddling in the end zone. Out of the huddle they come. All of a sudden this band is... Drum and Bugle Corps is striking up music or something, some kind of noise while the play is on. Here's a handoff to Payton, sweeps the right side, and Walter's going to be nailed. No gain on this play.
Couldn't concentrate or couldn't penetrate the left side of that Minnesota line that time, and Doug Sutherland as well as Carl Eller and Matt Blair all came up to meet Walter Payton. They're taking no chances with him. Gang tackling is one of the ways to stop Walter, and they're using it as effectively as they can. Payton, of course, broke away for 39 yards and a TD to give the Bears their 7-0 lead at this stage of the ball game.
3rd down, 9. Adamley and Payton are the deep men for the Chicago Bears. Avellini still quarterbacking this ball club. The Bears ahead 7-0. We're in the 2nd quarter. Don't forget George Hallis will be our guest at halftime. Here's a handoff, and it goes to Payton on a knife to the right side, a real slant play. Just barely got across the 5-yard line on that one.
No chance at all to penetrate there because Alan Page and Doug Sutherland just were not moved, nor was Ed White, who came in there. And so it was a no gain for the Chicago Bears. A play that the fans started to boo because they don't see much hope in a play like that picking up much yardage. But you can never tell, Jack. It's easy for the fans to boo, but every once in a while you crack one of those plays, and if it gets through the first line of defense, he may go all the way.
Well, the Minnesota Vikings should wind up with very good field position here because Parsons has to punt from in his own end zone, and Audrey Beeman is standing up on about the 45-yard, the 30-yard line, and Willis back on about the 40, and it's Beeman who makes the catch at the 35-yard line of a high boot that hung up there a little while, but of course did not have much yardage to a 30-yard net from scrimmage against the wind. And so the Minnesota Vikings are in a very fortunate position. They're going to spot the ball at the 34-yard line of the Bears. 9:27 to go in the 2nd quarter. Bears ahead 7-0. 1st and 10 Minnesota. Back with more action in just a minute.
What makes Harlem's Old Style unique among beers and gives it that great light flavor? Well, our unique brewing process has a lot to do with it. We start with crystal clear water. Only sparkling, pure spring water is good enough for old style. Water that flows cold and clear from deep beneath the ground. Some folks say all the way from Canada. We use this water in a traditional old world, pure brewing, double brewing process called krausening. Krausening is the most natural way to brew beer and the most expensive. And it's what gives Old Style its great light flavor. Try Old Style, pure brewed in God's country. G. Harleman Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Well, if Johnny Unitas Frank Tarkina picks up those 91 yards today, he will have surpassed the all-time record by Johnny Unitas for passing yardage, a magnificent and magnanimous total of 40,239 yards.
First and 10 Vikings on the Bear 35, and here's Tarkenton with a handoff to McClanahan. Starts along the right side, tries to cut in a tackle inside the defensive left end, just barely gets inside the 35 to the 33-yard line.
And thank goodness Craig Clemens came up there from his safety position, made a very good play to make the tackle. The safety men, as you may gather, play very close to the line of scrimmage, and so when you hear them making tackles up at the line of scrimmage or shortly beyond, you know that they're doing a good job, and this is typical of the way safety men play today. They are not too deep.
Sammy White is wide to the right and Grimm to the left on the play. Again, it's McClanahan. Big hole, but Hartenstein, I guess, closed that one for him, Cup, inside the 30.
They pulled in just side of the Bear tackle that time, and Hartenstein had to make the tackle behind the line of scrimmage. A good driving tackle, and finally stopped the ball carrier. We have some scores here, Jack. Cincinnati 14, Cleveland 6 in the second quarter. San Diego nothing, Pittsburgh nothing in the second quarter. Detroit now is leading Green Bay 10-0. New Orleans 7, Atlanta nothing. Kansas City 6, Tampa Bay nothing. Here we go, Jeff.
Third down 2. Bears defense hoping to hold for 2, and it's a handoff this time to a new man in there, Robert Miller. And Miller, who, by the way, established all kinds of rushing records and running records at Kansas, is a 2-year man now. This is the first time he's been in the ball game, and he carried to the 22-yard line for a first down for Minnesota on that play. Went off right tackle very hard. Good blast blocking on the right side by the Minnesota Vikings, Ed White and Ron Yeri, with a little help from Tingelhoff. And just as the boys start to line up, there's a whistle by the official. The band is beginning to bug them a little bit, and I have to wonder why they didn't stop the band before, because they're standing in line, of course, in the south end here, almost just outside the end zone. And the fans, of course, are all for the band. They got a drum and bugle corps, a bunch of drummers from the Wisconsin band, and they are keeping the beat for some very, very attractive drum majorettes. Here is a pass, and it's caught by Miller at the 15-yard line, loses his balance, and down at the 13-yard line. Pretty wide open again, and that's
wide
almost
open,
that same play, Cup.
Right in front of Ross Brubaker. Nobody had to make the tackle because the receiver went to his knees and fell catching the ball. A good catch, a substantial gain in that area, and Brubaker just fell on top of him after the ball was dead, practically. Now it's the second down and only 2 yards to go on the 14-yard line, Jack.
A little over 7 minutes to go in the second quarter, and Minnesota pressing for the goal. The one that'll tie up the game. Here's the snap, and the handoff goes to Foreman, sweeps the right side. It was a kind of a clumsy handoff, and this gave the defense time to get in there. The timing on that handoff was just a little bit off.
Osborne really got into to break up the play. He didn't make the tackle, but he forced Foreman to run wider than he intended, and that gave Brubaker a chance to come up from the line of scrimmage to make the tackle. And so it's a loss of a yard now, Jack. Foreman is not having a very successful day in running against the Chicago Bear defense.
Third down 3, the ball at the 15. WGN Radio, Chicago. First in sound, first in service, first in sports. Osborne out. Jerry Myers in for the Bears in the rush. Grimm wide left. Miller to the left. White to the right. Here's Tarkenton looking for a receiver. He's reversing himself. He throws. It is picked off by Brubaker at the 3. He's at the 5. He's at the 10, the 15. He's still going at the 20, and Ross has got that ball for the Bears at the 24-yard line. Ross Brubaker picking off another pass. He got 2. And lateral to Hartenstein for a touchdown on one of them the other day at Dallas. And now Ross Brubacher has come up with his third interception of the year. That's going to put him among the leaders. The Bears have the ball at the 24. Back with more action in just a minute.
Say, Harry, I hear your oldest just started college. What's she majoring in? Spending money.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
College can bring a lot of unexpected expenses. And when it does, come on into Household Finance. We'll do everything we can to lend you the extra money you need. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC. You can use our money to get where you want to be. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
At Household Finance Corporation, you may borrow up to $10,000 on a wide variety of repayment plans. HFC has 65 offices in the Chicago area. See your phone book. Bears ahead 7-0. 6:10 to go in the first half, and the Bears own the football when it looked like Minnesota was a cinch to get something, if nothing more than a field goal. But the Bears, on Brubacher's very alert interception, have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 24. Bashnickel wide to the left. Here's a pass. It's a lob pass. It's deflected, and that was almost tragedy. Marshall got in there, and that one went up in the air and just seemed to hang up there. What a lollipop that was. Boy, the Bears lucky there was no interception.
Absolutely, Jack. Give Page credit for that one. He really batted the ball around up there after it left Avellini's hands. He was closing in for a sack, and Avellini got rid of the ball quickly, and Page was able to get his hands on it, and the ball would just flip-flop all over the field.
Well, Avellini at the moment is 1 out of 5 in the passing department for a minus 6 yards. That's enough of that. Schubert wide left. Scott in a slot to the left now for the Bears. Harper right, Payton left in the throw set, and here's the handoff to Walter. Sweeps the right side, knifes across the 25 to about the 27-yard line. Left side of that defense caving in on him fast.
Absolutely. Blair was in there once again. He's playing a very good ball game against the Bears, and Nate Wright came up from his halfback cornerback position there to participate in the tackle. Page really offset the play, though, or rather upset the play by getting through and forcing Payton to run where he didn't intend to run. Incidentally, Jack, it's interesting to know that the statistics show that 50% of the time, the hole that is designated for the offense is never really hit by the offensive back. He has to find another way to go.
Front man on the eye. Harper, back goes Avellini, looks for a pass receiver, and he almost had an interception. Wow. He was almost intercepted by Nate Wright on that one. The ball was almost right at Nate, and I'm amazed that he didn't hang on to it.
I don't know how he missed the ball. It was a well-thrown pass, incidentally, by Avellini. One of the few times he's thrown it very well. Unfortunately, there's a holding penalty against the Chicago Bears, and so we may suffer more than just an incomplete pass. Let's see.
Well, let's see if Minnesota decides to take the walk-off. It'll be 10 yards if they do. As Cup said, offensive holding charged against the Chicago Bears. The Vikings, of course, have the option. The pass was incomplete, which would give the Bears 3rd and long yardage. They're going to take it. And that puts the ball back inside the 17-yard line now. And that's going to make it now for the Bears once again, since they do not lose the down. It's going to be third down for them.
3rd and 17, Jack.
WGN Radio Chicago. Bears ahead 7-0. And here is a handoff to Harper. Sweeps around the left side across the 25 to the 27-yard line. But the linebackers were ready for him again.
And Harper came all the way up here. Of course, Mr. Blair once again was in on the tackle. He hasn't missed many tackles today for the Minnesota Vikings. He's all over that field playing an exceptionally good game.
And he was the villain in the piece at Minnesota, of course, when it came to blocking that PAT by Thomas that actually cost the Bears the ball game. 4th down, 7. That means, of course, Parsons will have to boot. Willis standing back here on the 40-yard line. Not a very good kick. Wait a minute. Hey, fake it. They faked it, and the Bears got away with it. The gamble paid off. Schubert making the catch on that one as the Bears pulled that once-a-year play, and this is a 24-yard gain as Bob Parsons from the fake punt. Threw the pass, and the Bears got away with it. They owned the ball. 1st and 10 to go, and the Vikings 48-yard line. There was some gamble.
That was a tremendous gamble, and Jeff Wright was right on the man who caught the ball. It was amazing that he was able to catch it.
1st and 10 Bears. Here's Walter again. Breaks a tackle. There's a flag down on the defensive side of the line of scrimmage as Walter tries to sweep the left side and has no luck at all against Seaman. There was a flag down on the play, however. We'll have to double check and see against whom. And it looks like it's against the Bears. Looks like the holding rap against Chicago is going to be called again. The Bears are leading 7-0. 4 minutes to go in the first half. At halftime, Cup will have a wrap-up for you. Our guest will be George Hallis Sr. Following the ball game, our guest on the Pro Football Scoreboard as we wrap up the scores is going to be the Bear all-time great Ed Obradovich. And there is a holding penalty which they accept.
Against Greg Latta.
And it's against Greg Latta, according to the announcement from the field. All right. Scott wide to the right now. It's going to be 1st and 20 for the Bears. They have the ball back on their 42-yard line. Into the I formation now go Harper and Payton, with Payton the deep man. Avellini, the quarterback. Neal snaps the ball. The handoff goes to Walter. Almost nailed at the line of scrimmage. He managed to just skip across the one linebacker, Blair, who came in there, and did get a few yards on the play before it was over.
Jim Marshall and Jeff Seaman, two Tigers on defense here, were the men who stopped Payton on that particular play.
Gain of 3 yards on the play. 2nd down, 17. The ball has been pushed up to the 45. Give them 3 on the play. Bears huddling near their 35-yard line. Out of the huddle they come. Bashnagel wide to the right. He's in a slot. Scott wide to the right. He's a flanker. In the pro set on the right side is Payton. On the left side is Harper. There's a pitch out now to Roland Harper. Sweeps the left side, trying to block for him. Lionel Antoine slips and falls on his chest. He still, however, gets across the 45 to the 47-yard line. A little help from Latta on that one as Roland Harper moves around the left side for a few yards, and that's going to make it now 3rd down and roughly 16 yards to go.
Antoine couldn't handle Jim Marshall on that particular play, so Marshall, Hilgenberg, and Seaman were all in out defensively on that play.
The wind, of course, has become a little bit of a factor in this football game. The team defending the north goal is the one that has the advantage of the wind. And the Bears right now going from south to north, of course, when they do have to punt against it. Okay, here's the handoff. A quick opener intended for Walter, and look out for the fumble on this play. That was close. Ooh. Well, Harper holding on to the football for the Bears. And now it's going to be 4th down. Payton fumbling the ball, Harper recovering. The ball is now at the 44-yard line of the Chicago Bears. That means now that Parsons will boot. The last time he got back there, he threw from the fake punt formation a 22-yard pass.
I think we used up our trick or treats today, though, Jack. We're going to have to punt the ball.
There's the boot. It's held by the wind and caught in a fair catch at the 30-yard line by Beeman. 26 yards net to the Bears, and the team punting from the right side today, from the south side, is going to wind up with short punting yardages for the most part of that, I'm sure.
That's right. The wind is a factor here. Official timeout. We have some scores here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Cincinnati is now leading Cleveland 14-6 in the second quarter. Miami has taken a 7-0 lead over New England in the second quarter. San Diego 0, Pittsburgh 0 in the second. Detroit 10, Green Bay 3 in the second quarter. New Orleans 7, Atlanta 0 in the second quarter. Kansas City 6, Tampa Bay 0 in the second quarter. Incidentally, New Orleans 7, Atlanta 0 reminds us that Bobby Douglas may have started today for the New Orleans Saints. At least he was indicated that he may start during the week. New York Jets 0, Buffalo 0 in the second quarter. And here, of course, the score is Chicago Bears 7, Minnesota Vikings 0. And we have a minute and 55 seconds left to play in the first half of this ball game. The Bears have scored with a 39-yard run by Walter Payton. We have a jammed house, a capacity house here on a typical fall day, a little chilly, but and a little overcast, but still very pleasant for football. And they're seeing one whale of a game here as the Bears try to end their 3-game losing streak and their first game home in 4 weeks.
Well, in first half competition so far this year, the Minnesota Vikings have averaged just under 12 points in each of the first halves they've played. Cumulatively, they have a total of 81 points in first half competition in the first 7 games. Today, they're being held to none with 1:55 to go in the first half at Soldiers Field. I'm Jack Brickhouse, along with Irv Kupferman, our WGN Sports Editor Jack Rosenberg with us, Arnie Harris, our statistician again today. As the Vikings bring themselves up to the ball now, the line of scrimmage is the 30-yard line. Grimm is wide to the left, and out here to the right is Leonard Willis in there at right end for the first time. It's a carry by Foreman around the left side on this side, and Chuck, moving around the left side, may have gotten 1 yard on the play. The Bears were ready.
It was a very slow developing play because Foreman was not the primary receiver. After Brian Darkington couldn't find anybody else, he threw to Foreman, but Wally, Bryant and Reed were both there to make the tackle.
No huddle. They're in their 2-minute drill, it looks like, and back goes Tarkenton. He looks, he throws up the middle, and again he hits Stu Boyd, the tight end. Wide open, just wide open. He carries the ball across midfield to the Chicago Bear 46-yard line. Now, I can understand why a pass like that, 23 yards worth, might be caught in a spot like this because the Bears are protecting against the bomb. They're willing to concede the short and even the medium pass. Still in all, it's distressing to see that pass work so often for Minnesota. That's straight up the field pass today, Cut.
Right down the middle there, the middle linebacker is supposed to drop back unless there's something special about the Bear defense that we don't understand. But Reed is supposed to drop back and protect on that play. There was nobody there at all. And as I said before, they're going to have to look at some film clips to determine where the defense is breaking down on that coverage. It's a very simple play. Just either end, right over the middle and about 10, 15 yards down the field. So now Minnesota has a first down and 10 on the Bears' 47-yard line. And they are in position, Jack, to strike once again.
First and 10 at the 47 of the Bears. Vikings up to the line. Grimm wide to the left. Willis wide to the right. And once again, Tarkenton's back. He's back to his 45. He's being chased. He's scrambling away from Jerry Myers. Now he runs away from Osborne. He sweeps to the left side. Forced out of bounds. As he makes a short gain on the play. Forced out of bounds at the Bear 44-yard line. Fran Tarkenton finding nobody open. Everybody was covered. Voigt was covered. Grimm was covered. Willis was covered. And consequently, Fran had to run for his life back there. He doesn't scramble like he used to, but some of those scrambles of his can still be pretty dramatic. They can really be electrifying, and they can really bring that crowd to a peak of excitement. Give them a couple on the play. It's going to be second down, 7 yards to go. Call it a 3-yard gain. It's just under that. The ball is now at the Bear 44-yard line. Wide to the left again is Willis. This time, Grimm is wide to the right. Miller on the right. Foreman on the left in the pro set. Once again, Tarkenton's back. He throws a sideline pass, and he hits Miller, who may be ruled incomplete on this one. Wait, yep, they've ruled incomplete. Otherwise, Osborne wanted to pick that ball up and run with it. He was hit hard by Brubacher out here on the flank.
He was hit so hard, Jack, as they say, he heard footsteps coming. And when you hear those, it's not too easy to catch a football. And hit very hard and dropped the ball simultaneously as it reached his hands. Consequently, it was not a fumble.
1:10 to go in the half. Third down, 7 for the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears ahead, 7-0. Grimm moves out to the left. Flanked out to the right now is Willis again. Foreman and Miller in the pro set. Willis going in motion to his left, and now he cuts to his right as he goes downfield. Here's the bomb way down there, and it's incomplete. The target was Grimm. He was going high in the air for the ball, as actually he and Willis were scissoring on that play. They were doing the crisscross. There was a flag down at the line of scrimmage, and the penalty is against the Minnesota Vikings, holding against Minnesota. As a matter of fact, you can see Big Chambers signaling over to the Bear bench what the call was. He was holding up his arms in a holding motion, indicating with the Bear bench to the Bear bench what that penalty was going to be. And now, of course, on 4th down and 7, Reeves, defensive captain for the Bears at the moment, and Osborne talking it over with the referee. The holding penalty against Minnesota is declined. That means on 4th down and 7, with the ball at the Bear 44-yard line, the Minnesota Vikings now have to give up the football. And Claybo has come in. He's their punter, and dropping back is Virgil Livers. 1:05 to go in the first half. The Bears should wind up with the advantage at halftime. The kick should come from near the 45, 46-yard line. He's standing on his 42. Beautiful sunshiny day. Perfect weather for football. There's the boot. It's high. Carries very well. It should go into the end zone. Wait a minute. We're going to get a roughing the punter here. Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Oh, brother. That really hurts. That really hurts.
Well, was it Plank or Brubacher? They were both running in there. So was Larry Schreiber.
Well, it looked to me like it was...
Also racing in there for the Bears was Gary Fensick on that one. He was pretty anxious, yeah.
Yeah, Gary Fensick was the man they probably will call it on. And the Bears just... Yeah, he's giving the signal now. Running into the punter.
These are the kinds of immature mistakes that just should not be made.
That's right. You can only say in any deference that they're made out of an aggressive spirit that is so necessary in football. But it's unfortunate that they come at the most inopportune moments. Now the Bears should have had possession of the ball. Instead, the Vikings had 57 seconds left, and with Fran Tarkington at the control, that's much too much time.
Yeah, the ball's on the Bear 39-yard line. So Tarkington and his gang get another shot. Back goes Fran, rolling to the right. He's still looking. He's still looking. He throws, and it is incomplete. As a matter of fact, he had to push one of his blockers away. Tinkelhoff had backed up, and he had to really push him out of the way with his left hand. Stu Boyd was his only target, as it turned out, and that was no bargain.
Jack, give the defense credit for breaking that up, because the pressure on Tarkington was tremendous. He could not get set. He had to loft the ball up in the air there. It's a ball that often is intercepted. He just threw it to the man he thought he could get closest to, and it was, as you said, Craig, and no chance whatsoever for a completion. But the defensive maneuvering by the Bears made it impossible for Fran to get off a decent pass.
Second down 10. The ball is still at the Bear 39-yard line. The Bears ahead 7-0, and back goes Tarkington again. He looks, he throws, and it's caught by Foreman at the 25, at the 20, 15, and down at the 14-yard line. Fran Tarkington aiming perfectly, 25 yards net to the Vikings on that play, and now they have 1st and 10 on the Bear 15. Foreman was shaken on the play. Now he's up.
Craig Clemens hit him a pretty good shot there and bringing him down after that play. Foreman caught the ball practically in the air, consequently had no way of defending himself against a very hard tackle by Craig Clemens, and so he was injured temporarily, but it looks like he's up and about now. And as we said, those 57 seconds that the Vikings had were just too many seconds for Fran Tarkington to be entrusted with, because now they're knocking at the Bears' door with a 1st down and 10 on the Bears' 15-yard line. And so that penalty on roughing the punter can be a very serious one. And just now, Fran Tarkington, by completing that pass, has passed the record of Johnny Unitas as the all-time record passer for the National Football League. He now has 117 yards today, and that surpasses the old mark of 40,000-some yards by Johnny Unitas. The exact record was 40,239 yards by Johnny Unitas. Fran Tarkington, let's take our hat off to him and salute him, the all-time passing record champion for the National Football League.
1st and 10 on the Bear 15-yard line. Vikings ball. Miller in motion to the left. Here's Tarkington dropping back, rolling out to his right. He waits. He throws in the end zone. It's incomplete. The only target he had on that one had to be Willis, and he was nowhere near the football. So again, the clock stops, this time with 36 seconds to go in the first half. It's 2nd down 10. And, of course, you have to give the Vikings at least field goal range on this particular setup. Jerry Myers racing in now. The last time the Vikings had this beautiful scoring opportunity, Brubacher intercepted one, and the Bears wound up out of the hole. Right out onto the sidelines now to the Bear bench as Jerry Myers goes in to spell him. 2nd down 10. Vikings ball on the Bear 15-yard line. Willis to the left. Grimm out here to the right. Here's the snap, and once again Tarkington drops back. He throws over the middle, and it is caught at about the 7-yard line. Once again, it is Foreman making the catch. A beautiful catch. He was nailed immediately by the Bear deep man Clemens, but there was no stopping that catch.
That's right, but Craig was right on top of Foreman. He did a good job as far as his coverage was concerned. It was just a perfect execution by Fran Tarkington to a superb receiver, Foreman, and Craig could not stop the pass without endangering losing the man altogether. So he brought him down as fast as he caught the ball, but he was in no position to stop the pass.
All right, 3rd down 2, and they have the ball on the Chicago Bears 6-yard line. 29 seconds to go as the Vikings call timeout. As the Vikings call timeout here as the first half gets set to close out. Again, a sellout here. I don't know how many no-shows we have. It can't be too many, Cup, because this is quite a layout we've got here today looking at this crowd.
Beautiful layout here today, and within a year or two, we may have as many as 70,000 people seated around here somehow, Jack, either a double deck or a whole new seating arrangement. I'm not sure yet that they have determined how much money they're going to expend. It's going to be a considerable sum, and a double deck might be the answer to a brand new Soldier Field. Anyway, here we come with a 3rd down 2, Jack, on the 5.
Big play. 3rd down 2 for the Vikings on the Bear 6, and here's Tarkenton. He throws, and it is too high and out of reach of Miller, who winds up in the crowd. Bob Miller was the target on that one, but he just could not handle it. The pass went out of bounds, and so now with 24 seconds to go, Cox comes in. Now, Cox has kicked 9 field goals in 15 attempts this year. His longest one is 49 yards. And Cox, of course, is among the leaders in scoring as a result of the field goals he has kicked.
Cox will attempt the field goal for Minnesota. A 24-yard attempt.
24-yard boot. There's the place down. The kick is up. And it is good. And the score now is the Bears 7, the Vikings 3. Let's hope that 3 doesn't come back to bite them before the day is over. 21 seconds to go in the first half. So, that means now that the Chicago Bears are going to get the football, but whether they'll have time to do any good in the 21 seconds remaining in this half remains to be seen. In the meantime, Cox, the number 3 scorer among the kickers in the National Football League, has just come up with his 10th field goal of the year in a total of 16 attempts. Well, Cup, you got a special play for this situation? You got your 21-second play ready to send
Yeah,
in?
we've heard of fellas hitting the kickoff and running it all the way back for a touchdown. That would be a nice Halloween adventure for one of our backs today. And they can do it if they get the right blocking. Incidentally, that penalty, of course, is the one they gave the running into the roughing the punter. Is the one they gave the Minnesota Vikings position with only 57 seconds left to get into scoring position from which they booted that field goal. So those penalties, when they come at the wrong time and the wrong end of the field, can be most injurious and sometimes and often cost the ball game. Jack, we're ready for the kickoff. There are only 21 seconds left to play, so maybe the long kickoff will be what we need for a score.
Here's Cox's boot. Bashnagel is deep. However, it's a ground ball picked up by the fellow on the right, Adamley, at the 20s, at the 25, the 30. Mike stutter steps a little at the 30, gets up the 33-yard line. 14 seconds to go in the first half. The Bears have the ball now on their own 20, make that 33-yard line. We thought that Bashnagel was going to get the kickoff. He figured to get it. Of course, Brian's the number 3 kickoff return man in the conference with an average of nearly 27 yards per return.
Now, they purposely kicked the ball away from him and kept it low, so...
Well, Adamley, of course, has returned 5 now for the Bears this year. He's been rather involved, and he's had an average of 21 yards per kickoff return, so Mike knows his way around with that football down there on those kickoff plays, too. Anyway, Bears ball, 1st and 10 now, 14 seconds to go in the first half. Front man is Harper in the I formation, and here's Avellini. He's looking for somebody to throw that ball to. He's scrambling back there. He's still running back there, back and forth. He's at the 20-yard line. He switched around the left side, and he is going to be sacked finally at the 20. Time has expired. Well, he managed to run out the clock on that one. But before it was all over, Page and Eller, I thought we were going to peel him and eat him. Man alive. Avellini is not exactly Tarkenton in his prime when he's scrambling back there, but nevertheless, he got the job done. He used up the clock, and he didn't throw any interceptions, and so the first half has expired now with the score, the Bears 7, the Vikings 3. We'll be back with Cup's recap in a little bit here. Today's game is brought to you by Household Finance, the company that solved more financial problems for more people than anyone else in their business. So come on into HFC, Household Finance.
Tarkenton is 36 years old. He's the career leader, incidentally, in 4 major passing categories. In 1975, he broke Unitas's career record for touchdown passes, 290, for pass completions, 2,830, and for pass attempts, 5,186. Tarkenton's totals at halftime of today's games were 297 touchdown passes, 3,051 completions, and 5,420 attempts. Well, enough for statistics. Just let's salute Fran Tarkenton, who has emerged today as the number 1 passer in the National Football League of all time. And here we have some scores. Cincinnati 14, Cleveland 6 at the halftime. Miami 10, New England 3 at the halftime. That may be a major upset in the making. And a great return for Armsberger as a new defensive coach. Pittsburgh 3, San Diego nothing at halftime, a surprisingly close game. Detroit has opened up against Green Bay. It's 24-3 in the second quarter. Detroit over Green Bay. New Orleans has taken a 14-0 lead over Atlanta at halftime. And it will be very interesting to see if Bobby Douglas has been in a quarterback. Kansas City 6, Tampa Bay nothing at halftime. New York Jets 16, Buffalo nothing. Another major upset in the making at halftime. Philadelphia 10, New York Giants nothing at halftime. And St. Louis 7, San Francisco nothing in the first quarter.
Well, the Bears are going to anticipate receiving the kick now. This means, by the way, as they defend the south goal, that Minnesota will have the advantage of the wind in the final quarter unless things change. Right now, the Bears are going, wait a minute. No, the Bears will have the advantage of the wind in the fourth quarter because they're now defending against a very strong wind from the north. So deep for the Chicago Bears is Baschnagel. He's flanked on the left by Musso, on the right by Adamle. Here comes Cox up to the ball. There's the boot, and it slides off the right side of his foot and goes out of bounds way over here on the west side of the field near the Bear bench. That was a pretty sloppy kick. And as a result, it'll be placed back on the 30-yard line. He'll have to kick it all over again. The up front men for the Bears, well, standing at about the 25-yard line, we see Jiggets. And we also see for the Bears, Roland Harper, Jerry Myers, 3 men up there at the 25-yard line. Plank is at midfield. Flanked on the right by Reeves, on the left by Muckenstern. Ross Brubacher's way on the right side. Among the fellas in there on the specialty team for this kick. There's a high and very short kick. It's going to be taken at the 20-yard line by Baschnagel. He's at the 30 already, 35, 40, midfield almost before he's finally rolled out of bounds. And let me tell you something. It was Cox as well as Blair, the linebacker, who got him a 25-yard kickoff return, and he's only 1 or 2 men away from going all the way on that one. So a spirited Bear ball club leading the Vikings by a score of 7-3. Take over, 1st and 10 to go. They've spotted the ball now at the Bear 47-yard line. Here we go with the third quarter.
Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayinthennfl.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayinthennfl.com.
Stick with us on WGN. This could be a big, big second half, I'll tell you. A lot of fun. Harper and Payton in the backfield. In motion to the right goes Scott. Here's Avellini, a handoff to Walter Payton, sweeps the right side and slips and falls, trying to reverse himself. No gain on the play. As a matter of fact, they lost a few yards on that one as he slipped and fell, trying to avoid Blair. And I wonder if maybe, even though we have a lot of sunshine here, if the going may not be a little slippery from yesterday's rain after all.
It could be. It looked that way, the way Payton tried to cut, and the feet just went right out from under him, and it literally fell at the feet of Matt Blair there without any problem whatsoever for Blair.
Well, that's going to make it 2nd and 13. A 3-yard loss on the play. Baschnagel wide to the left. Scott out there to the right. Here's Avellini dropping back. It's going to be a second down pass unless, wait, he falls down, picks himself up. However, they're going to rule that he was down. Reeve Sorry tried very hard to prevent Sutherland from getting to Avellini, and as Bob reversed himself, he slipped and lost his balance, and down he went. So that's ruled as a loss, even though nobody was too close to him. And sometimes a man's allowed to get up and proceed in a spot like that. They're ruling the ball dead on that one. And that makes it now 3rd and 22 with the ball back on the Bear 35-yard line. Wow.
He did get hit by Doug Sutherland, who had only an outstretched arm. He wasn't close to him, but he did get an outstretched arm on him, and that kind of upset Avellini.
Front man in the I formation is Harper. Right behind him, Walter Payton, Avellini, and his handoff to Payton, and he ducks a couple of charging forwards and manages to knife for some pretty good yardage on this up to the 43-yard line after all. It looked like he was going to be caught back of the line of scrimmage.
Yes, it did. He made a beautiful play. His usual sneaky little trick of getting underneath everybody because of his size. Finally, Nate Wright, number 43, brought him down after a substantial gain. which is added to Walter's running record today, but not too much for the Bears' cause.
So they're back to 4th and 13 as Parsons gets set to kick. He's standing on his 30. The kick should come from near the 35. He gets it away, and it's low, but carries very well. It fights that wind beautifully. And back on the 13-yard line is Willis, and he is nailed in his tracks by Schubert, who came down real fast under that one. A 43-yard boot net from scrimmage and no return. And now Minnesota is back to the 12-yard line, and boy, talk about a 180-degree turn in the kicking fortunes of Bob Parsons. That's what happened here today compared to what happened at Minnesota 3 weeks ago. First and 10 now. First and 10 for the Vikings. Tarkenton, of course, still quarterbacking the ball club. Foreman and McClanahan are the deuce backfield. Here is Tarkenton rolling out to his left. He throws, and he hits his man at the 13-yard line as Foreman, but he's forced out of bounds in a big hurry by the Bears free safety.
Ray Clemens was right there on top of Foreman. He couldn't stop the pass. It was only a short one, but he certainly was right there on top of him. Incidentally, Chambers on certain downs is not playing tackle. As Jack pointed out, he's playing right end. The Bears have been hurt there by the absence of Stillwell, so Chambers moved out there. And, of course, he's giving a great performance out there. That means that Osborne is sharing the tackle job with Rideouch and Jeff Myers, who moves in there on occasion.
Second down 9. Tarkenton looks quickly and throws quickly, and the pass is almost deflected. Rideouch, your old buddy, charged in there pretty good.
Rideouch is having a whale of a day out there, as is Osborne. And part of that is due to the fact that they're concentrating so much on Chambers, double-teaming him on many occasions, that the other linemen are able to take advantage of the blocking assignments.
It must be quite a tribute, but still a little bit on the pain in the neck side to be double-teamed on every play like Chambers is.
Yes, when he knows it's for the good of the team, he's glad to make that sacrifice.
Third down 9, long yardage for the Vikings on their 13-yard line. Third down 9, big play for the Bear defense. Tarkenton back, he throws, and it is grabbed at the 20-yard line by Foreman, and he makes it all the way up to the 23. It looks like he's got his first down. They're going to give him the 24, as a matter of fact, on this one, and so 11 yards. They made the first down with 2 to spare, and this is the sort of thing that really has to bother the Bears, but they can't be too surprised. Minnesota has made that first down in this situation 40% of the time this year. The Bears have done it 30, which is about par for the course. And here is Tarkenton dropping back, rolling to the right. He's scrambling a little. He throws, and it's incomplete. His target was Stu Boyd, the tight end.
Beautiful rush by the Chicago Bears that time. Forced Tarkenton out of the pocket, and he started to run over here to the right in one of his patented runs, and he had to get rid of the ball. Not much chance of a completion there because he just had to get rid of it as quickly as possible.
Okay, the line of scrimmage is the 24-yard line. The score, the Bears 7, the Vikings 3. 11:50 to go in the third quarter at Soldiers Field in Chicago. Out of the huddle they come. Grimm is wide to the left. Len Willis wide to the right. Strong side right. Voigt, the tight end, standing right next to the, rather kneeling next to the tight tackle area, Ron Yeri. And here's a quick opener as Ron Yeri and the left guard on the play. Ed White open a big hole for Chuck Foreman, who's running better in this third quarter.
They took a big hole out of the chunk of the Bears' right side there. They took advantage of those hard charges, and that's what they're going to do. When you charge too hard, they're going to come back with a play that's a trap and try to take advantage of you, and that's what happened on that play. Reeves finally came over to make the tackle from his middle linebacker position.
Third down 2. The ball is at the 32-yard line of Minnesota. Here's the handoff. It's McClanahan. Through the middle he goes, and he breaks 2 tackles on this play and fights his way all the way up to midfield before being wrestled to the ground at the Bear 49-yard line. Plank came up in the secondary, had a shot at him. They still couldn't stop the man from going 18 yards on the play.
And Osborne was down there making the tackle, showing good pursuit. But they did find a big hole in the middle of the Bear line there. They split the 2 tackles. They took care of the middle linebacker with a good block. And so McClanahan had clear sailing for 18 yards down to the midfield line.
First and 10, they have the ball. Nosed into Bear territory now, just about at the Bear 49-yard line. Foreman on the right, McClanahan on the left. Willis in motion on the play, and back goes Tarkenton. Here's the bomb. It's way down there, and it is incomplete at the 5-yard line as Livers went up in the air and fought like a tiger with Grimm, who was trying his best to embarrass the ball club that had cut him. Woo, that was close.
What a close play that was. And even though Virgil Livers was on top of Grimm all the time, Grimm still had a good chance with a tremendous leap to catch that ball. And as Jack said, he would love nothing better than to embarrass the team that cut him not too long ago, the Chicago Bears.
Okay. Actually, the Bears gained about a foot on that play. They placed the ball squarely in midfield. On the previous play, it was about the length of the football at least into Bear territory. Okay, Grimm is wide left on this one. Willis to the right. Tarkinen under the center, Mick Tingelhoff in his 209th consecutive game. And once again, back goes Fran. He looks, he throws quickly this time, and it was almost intercepted. Almost intercepted by the Bears. Wayman Bryant, who made a dive for the ball because the target, McClanahan, was pretty far away from it.
What a chance Bryant had at that moment if he only could have bent over a little bit more because it was a low-thrown ball. But he had no chance to get it except to get a hand on it, and that wasn't sufficient to get possession. So another incompletion by Fran Tarkington makes a 3rd down 10 on the 50-yard line, and this is a big one for the Bears to stop if they want to get possession of the ball.
Tarkinen's 11 out of 26 for 122 yards at this point. 3rd down 10. The ball at midfield. 3rd down 10. Another big play for the Bear defense. Back goes Fran. Back all the way to his 40. Here's the throw, and it is a beautiful catch at the 34-yard line. The play was dead, and this time it was Grimm who did make the catch. As he was hit, he went down, and the ball escaped him. However, they ruled the play was dead. 17 yards for the Vikings, and Grimm comes through with a leaping, a very, very interesting type catch because he leaps high in the air and catches the ball at almost at his belt.
And looked like he dropped that ball to me, but the official said no, it was a completion before he dropped the ball. And so Minnesota has a 1st down and 10 on the Bears 33.
They're marching, and they've been able to make the cash in on this 3rd down efficiency quite a bit in this half. Here is Tarkinen. He throws over the middle, and he hits his man at the 24-yard line as Tarkinen opens this game now and really opens those defenses pretty wide. That was to Stu Boyd, the tight end. Stu Boyd, who so far this year had 13 catches coming into the action, not among the first 10. However, the Vikings have, for example, Foreman, the number 1 receiver, McClanahan, number 8, and Sammy White, number 9, and Rashad, the number 16 receiver in the National Football Conference. We've not seen Rashad. He did suit up for the game, although he was questionable. But Grimm, of course, taking Rashad's place, has certainly done a beautiful job, and Willis is in there right now. Len Willis, in some other capacity besides that of punt return. It is now 1st and 10. The ball on the Bear 23. Here's the handoff to Foreman, off right tackle. He goes inside the 20, bulls his way to the 17-yard line, and once again, the Vikings appear to be on the march.
What time Mike Hartenstein and Clay Clemens were in on the tackle there, but not until Foreman had picked up a good number of yards to make it 2nd down and 5 on the Bears 17-yard line now. This is a tough marching ball club, and the Bears are going to have to be at their best to stop this team from getting on the scoreboard again.
Well, the Bears' second half against Minnesota was their best second half of the year so far. Let's hope they can still do it. Here's McClanahan. Oh, brother, did he move into the line on that play. A beautiful hurdling job across the 15 down to the 14-yard line. He just threw himself headlong. A very, very almost reckless abandon type move. He was really so determined to get some kind of yardage on that play.
And Rideouts was there to meet him after he picked up enough yardage to make it 3rd down and 1, Jack. Rideouts is playing a super game, and the Bears on defense are doing all right in the line of scrimmage, but their secondary is unable to stop Tarkington's passes.
The line of scrimmage is the 13-yard line of Chicago. The snap, the handoff goes to McClanahan. He's through to the 10 and down to the 5-yard line. Upended by Livers coming up in the secondary on the play, lost his balance. Otherwise, he's through because they opened a hole for him as he knifed into the right side on that angle shot from the left halfback position.
And they handled the middle linebacker, who's a man who usually is dependent upon to stop those plays when they get past the line of scrimmage. But Reeves was blocked out perfectly by the tight end who came across and picked him off.
Bud Grant has sent Grimm back in. Willis is back on the sidelines now. They're going to be 1st and goal to go. The ball is spotted at the 6-yard line of the Chicago Bears. 6-yard line, 1st and goal to go. Bears ahead 7-3. Here's Foreman, and he is smeared. They're going to claim that they should permit him to go on through on this play. However, he was brought to a stop back of the line of scrimmage. He picked himself up after the tackle was completed, and the ball was whistled dead and ran under the end zone, but the officials did not buy it. So consequently, we'll call it 2nd down goal to go. He lost about 3 inches on the play. 2nd down goal to go. The ball is still on the 6-yard line. Chuck Foreman running hard on that play. And we'll have to say it was second effort, but the second came a long, long time after the first. Consequently, it doesn't count. Grimm is wide to the left. He's picked up by Virgil Livers in a one-on-one. Foreman on the left, McClanahan on the right. Here's a handoff to Foreman, and again he is smeared. No gain. May have lost a little on the play.
Yeah,
The stubborn Bear defense comes in there.
Great play by Dan Reeves, the middle linebacker, who got through on a sort of a half red dog and was in the secondary by the time Foreman got the ball and met him before he hit the line of scrimmage. So Foreman is being dogged once again today by Dan Reeves and the other members of the Chicago Bear defense. It's now 3rd down 7, so they lost a yard on that play.
Okay, 3rd down, goal to go on the 7. And, of course, if the Bears hold here, the chances are the Vikings will settle for a field goal effort. Here's Tarkenton. He has the ball. He looks for a receiver. It's a lob pass high in the end zone. It's incomplete. The target on the play was Ahmad Rashad. We have seen very little of him today because he was a questionable starter because of a leg injury. But the Bears defense has done the job here now. And so, on 4th down, let's see if the Minnesota Vikings settle for a Cox field goal. He's in there. Krause will hold. The kick will come from the 14-yard line, making it a 24-yard attempt. The last one from there was very good. The spot down, the boot is up. It has the distance. It is perfect. And so the score, ladies and gentlemen, with 5:49 remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Bears 7, the Vikings 6. Back with the action in just a moment.
Here in God's country, in Wisconsin, where we brew Heileman's Old Style, the sparkling, pure water flows from deep underground springs, some folks say all the way from Canada. We use this crystal clear water in a traditional, old-world, pure brewing, double brewing process called poisoning. When you brew a beer once, you've got a good beer. But when you brew a beer twice, you've got a great, light beer. Poisoning is the most natural way to brew beer and the most expensive. Maybe that's why today, Old Style is one American premium beer that is still fully poisoned. Try Old Style. Pure brewed in God's country. G. Heileman Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Bashnagel deep. Flanked on the right by Adamle, on the left by Musso as Cox tees the ball up on the 35. Kicks with the win. The Bears will have the win in the final quarter unless it changes. Bears ahead 7-6, 5:49 to go in the 3rd quarter. There's the whistle by Ullman, the referee. Here's the run-up. Here's the boot. It carries pretty good. Bryan's going to try it once more. He takes it at the 7. He's at the 10. Straight ahead at the 15, the 20, still straight ahead at the 25, the 30, 35, and down at the 37-yard line. He did not veer left or right on that play. Straight up the middle. 30-yard return from the 7-yard line, and so the Bears have the ball. 1st and 10 to go. We're going to spot it on the 38-yard line. Not bad field position for the Chicago Bears, who are leading 7-6. WGN Radio Chicago. 1st and sound, 1st and service, 1st in sports. And don't forget, following the ball game, it'll be Ed Obradovich as our guest, along with the Pro Football Wrap-Up. Signal being called, 6 men on the rush. Here's the handoff to Walter, and he finds himself no hole at all as he moves to the 40-yard line with that play. No hole at all for Mr. Payton on that one.
No, sir. Alan Page was right in there, and so was the right linebacker, Wally Hilgenberg, and so Walter Payton had no place to run that place except right into the arms of the opponents. He didn't have a chance to veer in or out because the play was just a straight-ahead play, and he had no chance to move anywhere. So now it's a 2nd down and 8 for the Bears.
Okay, 2nd down 8. Ball at the 40-yard line. Bo Rather in motion from right to left now. Good to see Bo in there. And back goes Avellini. He looks, he throws, and he hits his man at the 42. Wait a minute, it looks like an incomplete pass. He hit his man all right, but his man didn't hang on to it. The target in this case happened to be Musso. He was being guarded very closely by Nate Wright on the play, but he still should have hung on to that one, I think.
That's right. That's the second one that's been dropped on Avellini, and Avellini's record is not such that he can sustain many drop balls. Schubert dropped one right in his hands, and now Musso has dropped one.
Anyway, Avellini Cup is now 1 for 6 today for a total minus 6 yards passing. Now, we know that the Bear passing attack is a little lacking, but that's ridiculous. Those figures need to be improved on pretty quickly. 3rd down, 8 Chicago. Back goes Avellini once more. He looks, he throws over the middle, and it is caught by Scott at the 45, it's the 40, 35, 30, 25, out of bounds inside the 22-yard line. Jimmy Scott making a good crisscross. Right to left run pass, carries the ball for 38 yards for Chicago, and the Bears on 3rd down and long yardage have come up with a beautiful play. The ball is spotted down at the 22-yard line, and Jimmy Scott makes that catch. That was important. Scott, going into the action, had 10 catches today. Before today, the Bears have no receivers in the first 18 among the leaders in the National Football League. That helps a little. Okay, 1st and 10 Chicago on the 22-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Let's see if they take heart from this one. Here is Musso, the deep man in the eye, replacing Payton. He bulls forward, straight ahead, blast blocking on the play, and he gets 2, possibly 3 on the play. The 2 deep men for the Minnesota Vikings on that one, of course, are the same fellows who've been deep many times before.
That's right. Alan Page and the great Jim Marshall, playing a record number of 218 consecutive games, Jim Marshall is. They converge on that time, on the play to stop the runner right at the 20-yard line.
Okay, wide to the right now, Scott. Split away to the left on this play is Schubert. Payton's back in place of Musso. Harper goes in motion to the right. It's a pitch out to Walter, and they're going to try to block for him. As he turns the corner, he slips and falls down. Seavey and Harper appeared to be trying to do the blocking job for him, but as Walter started to cut, once again, he slips and falls. That's about 3 times he's done that today.
Jack, I think they ought to look at his cleats, because I don't think the field is to blame, but I think if he wore a little deeper cleat, he wouldn't be so prone to slip.
You know something? The same thought just crossed my mind as you started to say that, Cup, because on his straight-ahead stuff, he's been okay, but when he starts to cut sweeping wide, he's had his problems, except, of course, he did make a touchdown run around the right side for 30 yards earlier in the first half. Put the ball now at 3rd and 11. The ball on the 23-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Bears ball. Here's Avellini looking for somebody to throw that ball to. He's trying to outrun Alan Page. He's running for his life. He's still running. He throws in the end zone, and it is incomplete in the end zone. Scott had his hands on the ball, couldn't quite hang on to it. Avellini doing a very, very fine scrambling job back there, keeping his cool, keeping his composure, looking at all times for somebody to throw that ball to, and it just did not work. Now, for the Chicago Bears, Gary Huff has gone in. That means he will probably hold. Avellini coming to the sidelines. And let's see if we get the field goal effort on 4th down and 11. Yep. So Thomas will attempt a field goal. Thomas so far this year has 7 field goals in 14 attempts. The kick will come from the 31-yard line. It'll be a 41-yard boot if he gets it. There's the spot down. The kick is up. It has the distance. It is no good. It's wide. And as a result, the Bears have to give over the football now to the Vikings on the Vikings' 20-yard line. Check that. No, it'll be brought up to the 31-yard line. I beg your pardon. It'll be brought up to the line of scrimmage. The kick was from the 31. The line of scrimmage was the 23. We'll be back with more action in just a minute.
Let's throw a big New Year's Eve party in the family room. We'll invite...
Phyllis, we don't have a family room.
We could by then.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
When extra money's keeping you from getting something you really want, apply for an HFC loan of up to $10,000. You could be enjoying what you want right away. HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC. You can use our money to get where you want to be. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
Walter Smallone, phone or visit Household Finance. 65 offices in the Chicago area, offices in all major cities in Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Wisconsin.
Here we have some late scores. Cincinnati 14, Cleveland 6, Miami 10, New England 3, Pittsburgh 3, San Diego nothing at the halftime, and 24-3, Detroit is leading Green Bay at halftime. Jack, we're back in action.
Bears 7, Minnesota Vikings 6, 3:09 remaining in the third quarter. Here's Tarkinen looking for his receiver again. He lobs the pass high, and it's intended for Foreman on the 40-yard line at the sidelines. He was being hounded by a couple of Bears on that one. Brubacher, the linebacker, and I'm pretty sure that was Mr. Plank who was floating over from his free safety position. And so, it's an incomplete pass. Now, Tarkinen, it seems to me, is lobbing that ball a little high in spots today, Cup. Is this the way
lobbing
he's doing?
Well, on this particular play, it called for a lob. He was just trying to get the ball over the man's head who had a foot race down the sideline. But many times he's throwing the lob because he has no chance to get set. The Bears' pressure on him is pretty intense, and he's just getting rid of the ball as best he can. On other occasions, of course, Fran has been his usual brilliant self.
Willis left, Grimm right as the wide receivers on this one. Ball's on the 23-yard line of Minnesota. Tarkinen back once more, looks to his right, and he throws out in the flat. He hits McClanahan, but there's going to be no gain on this play because Brent McClanahan grabbed the ball all right as he caught 6 of them last week against Philadelphia. Nevertheless, there was no gain at all on the play. They might have even lost a little yardage on a completed pass. Yep, Ullman's putting the ball down on the 21-yard line. That's going to make it now 3rd down 12. Right out, Jerry Myers in for the Bears on the rush. What appears to be an obvious pass situation, although there have been a couple of times by both teams today when they crossed us up on this one, but they did not fool the opposition. Willis wide to the right, Grimm is out to the left, Grimm out to the right. Here's Tarkinen. The rush is on. He throws, and it is bouncing away from Foreman, and it's grabbed by McClanahan. So there are flags down all over the place.
Illegal.
2 offensive men touching the ball on the same play. It just doesn't count at all.
That's right. There are flags all over the field. I haven't seen so many flags down there. The yellow against the green makes a pretty picture. But what happened was an offensive man caught the ball, fumbled it into the hands of another offensive man. That makes it an illegal pass, touched by two offensive men without a defensive man in between to put his hand on the ball. So,
remember that disputed play in the Super Bowl on that one, in that Dallas game, Cup, a few years ago, and I will always be sure myself in my own mind that the Dallas man did touch that football, the defensive man, before the catch was made. Anyway, it is now 4th down, and Claypool's going to have to kick. He's got the win with him. The Bears are ahead 7-6. 2 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Perfect pass from center. The kick is away. Don't hit him, kids. That's it. They don't rough the passer, the kicker on this one. Livers takes the ball at the 38. He hesitates, comes to a full stop at the 40, trying very hard. And as he's hit at the sidelines, he fumbles the football, but I believe the Bears recovered. They did, right at the Bear bench. Knox and Bashnagel were both there to try to recover the ball. 43-yard boot net from scrimmage, as Virgil Livers tried to get a little cute and just couldn't get away with it. Timeout. Back with more action in just a minute.
After 44 years of presenting Chicagoland with solid cars, the Chicagoland Solid Men of Olds in 1941 introduced a new solid car for the luxury car buyer, the Olds 98. Today, the Chicagoland Solid Men of Olds proudly invite you to test drive the latest in this particular series of solid cars, solid service, and solid deals. The 1977 Olds 98. Solid.
To fully appreciate the solid new 98, you ought to get behind the wheel and drive one. See your Chicagoland Solid Men of Olds this week, and you can do just that.
all right, the first down 10 for the Chicago Bears on their own 48-yard line, and here we have a chance to move that ball. And let's see if we can get some scoring here. The score, Chicago Bears 7, the Vikings 6. The Bears have a 1-point lead. hardly sufficient against a ball club like Minnesota with Fran Tarkington at the controls. Here we go, Jack, with a little chance to get an offense going.
Real good field position. The Bears have the ball on the 48-yard line, as Cup told you, leading the Vikings 7-6 here with 2:02 to go in the third quarter. It's a handoff this time, and it goes to Harper, and Rowland gets the ball across midfield just barely off left tackle on the play.
And Mr. Wally Hilgenberg was back there to make the tackle, but not until Rowland had picked up about 3 yards on the play. What the Bears like to do, and every team likes to do if it's your running team, is able to pick up 4 or 5 yards at least on the first play. That dictates what you can do on your second and third downs. Here we go, Jack.
Scott is flanked out to the right. Wide to the left is Bashnagel on this play. Strong side left for the Bears. And here's Avellini. He's still running now. He throws way downfield, and it was incomplete. A great save by Krause, the deep man, because Scott was behind both those guys. He was behind both Krause and the other deep man on the play, Mr. Wright.
That's 2 touchdowns that Scott could have had. He dropped one in the end zone, and here he was clear at the ball had been thrown far enough. Unfortunately, Avellini couldn't get the ball far enough, and so Krause got a hand on it and batted it down. Was Scott, who has tremendous speed. He runs 100 as a sprinter, and he was beyond the defensive man, but the ball was short.
Third down. 7 yards to go for a first down. The ball at the 49 of the Minnesota Vikings. Peyton in motion left. Let's see if he gets a pass on this one. Here's Avellini looking for Walter. He throws, and it's incomplete. The target on this play was Steve Schubert at the 39. He tried to trap the ball, couldn't do it, and so on fourth down now, the Bears are going to have to give up the football. Parsons coming off the bench once more. Fellows like Knox and Musso and Gary Fensick of the Bears in there, along with Hicks on this specialty team. Larry Schreiber is one of them. Mike Adamley, Niels will center the ball. And there's the boot. It's high. It's a fine kick. Very fine indeed. And a fair catch called for at the 9-yard line by the Minnesota Vikings, Len Willis. And as a result, the Bears have put the Vikings back in the hole once more. 1 minute, 11 seconds to go in the third quarter. 41 yards net from scrimmage for Bob Parsons on that kick. And boy, it's a pleasure to see him get these kicks off.
Beautiful. The punt has been a great weapon for the Bears today. If they only draw a break, a fumble, or a turnover of some kind when they have Minnesota deep in their own territory. Minnesota is not the type of a team that give you many breaks, though. They are a veteran ball club, and they don't make too many mistakes. Here we go, Jack.
The ball is just shy of the 10-yard line. The Bears ahead 7-6. Here's a fake handoff, and here is Tarkenton back on his 2-yard line. He throws a sideline pass out here. It's caught by McClanahan at the 10. He spins away from Doug Plank, but he's nailed back at about the 8-yard line. So a completed pass is going to lose some yardage for Minnesota as the Bear defense really gets mean.
He really was hit hard, both by Osborne and Bryant on that particular play, as he tried to circle back and gain yardage and consequently lost yardage. And Osborne, he hit him a good shot there as he came across to make the tackle. And here is the second quarter situation. St. Louis is leading San Francisco 7-6, the same score that we have here.
Okay. Here is Tarkenton dropping back to his goal line. He throws the sideline pass, and it's caught out there at the 18-yard line on the far side of the field by Grimm. And that looks like very close to first down yardage, maybe not quite. They're going to call the ball down a couple of yards shy, maybe 3 yards shy of first down. Let's see if he is, actually his knee touched back on the 16-yard line is what the ruling is by the far side official out there on the east side. And there's the gun. The third quarter is over. When play resumes in the fourth quarter, it's going to be 3rd and 3 for the Vikings with the score. The Bears 7, the Vikings 6.
In the southwest corner of Wisconsin lies the Valley of La Crosse. Life is good in this place we call God's country. One of the reasons is the beer we brew here, Heileman's Old Style. Old Style is brewed with sparkling, pure water that flows cold and clear from deep underground springs, some folks say all the way from Canada. We use this special water to brew Old Style once, slowly, and then a second time in a traditional old-world brewing process called poisoning. It's the most natural way to brew beer and the most expensive. Poisoning is what gives Old Style its great, light flavor. Try Old Style. Pure brewed in God's country. G. Harriman Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Our 11-year-old champion.
All right, we're back here, and down on the field, they're announcing the winners of the annual punt, pass, and kick contest that they have for youngsters. Meanwhile, the Bears are faced with a 3rd down 3 on the 16-yard line. They're trying to stop the Minnesota Vikings from capitalizing on this 3rd down situation, forcing a punt and getting the ball in good scoring position. The score, Chicago Bears 7, the Vikings 6, another 1-point difference. Remember that the Bears had lost up in Minnesota 3 weeks ago, 20-19. Another 1-point difference, a game that the Bears dominated in the second half and outscored the Vikings 17-3, unfortunately, or rather 19-3. Unfortunately, the Bears came into the second half trailing 17-0 in that ball game. Well, they have played the Vikings to even basis here. In fact, the Bears have a 1-point lead going in here. The Bears got a touchdown. The Vikings have 2 field goals. The Bears got a touchdown on Walter Payton's 39-yard sweep around end. The Vikings got 2 24-yard field goals from their veteran field goal kicker, Freddie Cox. And so the score is 7-6, Jack, as we swing back into action for the final quarter of this ball game.
3rd down 3. Big play for the Bears. Here we go. Jack Brickhouse along with Irv Kupcinet. Now they have Willis to the left, Grimm out there to the right. Here's Target looking to the right. Now looks to his left, and he has an incomplete pass, has Foreman as the target, and the play is broken up. Foreman unable to handle the Bear free safety on the play.
Give Craig Clemens credit for a beautiful, hard-hitting tackle there that knocked the ball out of the hands of the potential receiver there. And so the Bears now have forced a 4th down punting situation, which means that the Vikings have to give up the ball.
Well, I think the thing to do is identify Craig Clemens as the strong safety. Actually, Doug Plank is the free safety. It was Craig on that one. Now on 4th down, of course, and punting against the wind. Play ball will kick from about his 6-yard line. There's the boot. It hangs up there not too well. It's a short punt, and it goes out of bounds. Started out of bounds. Now it bounces back in at the 33-yard line of the Vikings. Man alive, the Bears have got field position there. Are you ready for this? It's a 17-yard punt net from scrimmage. 17 little old measly yards, and the Bears could really look good if they take advantage of this break.
Well, Payton has carried the ball 71 yards on 14 carries, so he can still hit that 100-yard mark. Foreman has picked up only 20 yards on 8 carries, and McGlanahan has picked up 47 yards on 11 carries. Now, as you know, Payton was leading the league, and he's expanded his lead over Foreman today. Foreman has been held to 20 yards by a very, very stout Bear defense.
This is really remarkable because, as you point out, Cup, Foreman is the number 2 rush man in the whole league, right behind Walter, and, of course, has reached the 1,000 mark in the combination of rushing and pass-catching yardage. One of very few men to do this soon in the season. So here's one of the great runners in modern history, you might say, in the Viking uniform, George Foreman. Well, I finally waited till the 4th quarter before I called him George today. I did it in the first quarter the last time we were up there. Chuck Foreman. And I have a feeling the way he's been hit, he must feel like George.
Yeah. Anyway, Payton has gained 735 yards prior to today's game, and Foreman was behind them with 672.
Okay. Front man in the I formation is Adamile Musso. The Italian standing right behind him is Foreman, Walter Payton and Harper get a rest. Here is a good hole, and Musso goes inside the 25 to the 23-yard line. A beautiful hole open by the right side of the Bear offense for Johnny Musso on that play. And consequently, it's 2nd down and only about 2 yards to go for a 1st down.
Beautiful blocking. They took care of Doug Sutherland and Alan Page. They split them beautifully, and they had Jeff Seaman detained long enough so that there was a good substantial gain on the play. 9 yards.
Strong side left. Parsons on the left side. A tight end for the Bears on this play. Musso and Adamle still in the pro set backfield. And once again it's Musso. And this time he swarmed over big. Boy, he lined up on the right side, moved to the left, and they were really ready for him on this one. You never saw guys pour in there in those big white jerseys faster.
Absolutely. Alan Page, Jim Marshall. Those were the men who snowed them under there. The play developed a little bit slow and gave them a chance to find their bearings, and consequently, there was no room for the groom.
All right. 25-yard line is the line of scrimmage on third down now, and 3 yards to go for a first down. Here's Avellini rolling to his right. He's still going. Look out. He throws the pass in the end zone. It is incomplete. Wait a minute. We got interference down here. Parsons was the target, and leaping to his feet and yelling his head off on that play is Wright, Nate Wright. And if that penalty holds up, the Bears will have first and goal to go, and it looks like that. The clock shows 13 minutes and 23 seconds to go in this football game. The Bear fans, of course, extremely happy right now with a 14-6 Bear lead over the Minnesota Vikings, but a long time to go in this football game. 13:23 remaining. So Thomas will kick with the wind, and deep now is Len Willis. There's the run up the kick. Carries very well. It's going to take him into the end zone, and out of the end zone, it'll be brought to the 20-yard line. Thomas kicking with the wind. And who knows, he may be able to put the game on ice with a long field goal or something with that wind going for him, the way this thing is shaping up right now, Cup.
Absolutely. The wind is going to be a very important factor in this fourth quarter, and fortunately, the Bears have it at their back. Well, now the Minnesota Vikings are starting from their own 20-yard line. If the Bears defense can stop them now, this could be a turning point in this last quarter.
Grimm to the left. Willis out there to the right. The ball is handed to McClanahan, and as he knifes off right tackle, some good blocking on the right side by Ed White and Ron Yeri. Springham bats the line of scrimmage, but the hole closes in a hurry as the Bear defense closes ranks on him.
Yeah, give credit to Alan Ellis there. The ball carrier almost broke loose from the primary tackler, but Ellis came up fast from his cornerback position and put the clincher on him with a very hard driving tackle.
4 yards on the play. Second down, 6 at the 24-yard line. Minnesota Vikings pretty well in their own territory. And here's Tarkenton dropping back once more. He throws up the middle, and it's grabbed by Boyd at the 35, is at the 40 midfield, 45, 40, and down at the Chicago Bear 32-yard line. Caught from behind. Two Bear defenders both tried to step in front of him. An interceptor bat the ball down. As a result, when it got through them, when it got past them, Boyd was in the clear. And the big tight end showed that even though he's 6'1" and 225 pounds, he can move real well, and he was finally caught from behind by Alan Ellis, but not before he made 45 yards on that play. A spectacular play indeed, and the Vikings now might just take heart from that. The Bear defense is certainly going to have its work cut out for it. Okay. Tarkenton has his club at the 32. It's a handoff to McClanahan, and he sweeps the right side, and coming up in the secondary now it looks like our old pal Craig Clemens again.
Yes, sir. He made a beautiful diving tackle there and knocked the props right out from under the ball carrier to stop that threat.
Second down, 9 yards to go.
Now the Bears have work cut out for themselves. It's a second down 9 on their own 31-yard line, and the Minnesota Vikings are much too close for comfort. They have too much time left to consider this game safe.
Well, one thing about it, the question is if the Bear defense does stiffen, would they settle for a field goal fairly well into Bear territory? Ooh, there goes Jimmy Osborne across the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. Tarkenton goes through with the play. The pass is incomplete at the 22-yard line, intended for Willis, but as I said, there was a flag down. Jimmy Osborne jumped across the line. Question, did he get back in time?
Yes, it's no question there. You called them offside. And it's a 5-yard penalty against the Chicago Bears. It hurts a little bit, not fatal, of course, but it does hurt a little bit. It gives Minnesota a little momentum that they didn't have before. And you can only trace that to over-ambitious and over-desire by Jimmy Osborne to get to the tackler. Number 68, Osborne being called for offside.
The line of scrimmage is now the 26-yard line. The rush men for the Bears are Chambers playing right in. Hartenstein on the left side. The inside men are Rydalch on the right Jimmy Osborne on the left. Reeves, the middle linebacker, flanked on the left by Brubacher, on the right by Wayman Bryant, who backs up, and now Foreman gets the ball, bulls his way across the 25, gets 2, possibly 3 on the play.
And give Roger Ridalch a very good play by the former Utah star. He was filling in a tackle there, and he came through with a brilliant performance in that particular play to stop the ball carrier. And once again, Ridalch is proving that he's a very, very handy extra lineman there. He can fill in at either tackle, and he does a superb job. Here we go, Jack. Minnesota's a little bit confused there on their lineup.
3rd down 2. Little blast blocking. They're all bunched there. The ball goes to McClanahan off right guard, and it looks like McClanahan has taken that ball to the 20-yard line, and it looks like they have their first down. No flags on the play. It's going to be 1st down and 10 now for Minnesota. They're knocking on the Bear door again.
Right. Just a regular, simple play off tackle, off the Bears' left tackle, and they picked up enough yardage there for the 1st down. Nothing spectacular about it, but enough for a few yards and a 1st down on the Bears' 20-yard line.
WGN Radio, Chicago. Football from Soldier Field. Here's a quick pitch out to Foreman, sweeps the right side, gets a little yardage, gets maybe 5, maybe 6 on the play as he carries inside the 15 to the 14, possibly the 13-yard line. Once again, it was Foreman on the carry, and this time the pitch out, which is a little unusual for him.
Yes, and he did very well that time. He cut inside of Mike Hartenstein and finally rode him down after about a 6-yard gain. Anyway, it's 2nd down and 3.
They've spotted the ball at the 14-yard line. And here, wait a minute, might be an official's timeout. Okay, now they've started the clock, the big circular motion of the arms. Fran Tarkinen has his ball club at the 14-yard line. Here's a quick handoff. Oh, boy, that was a quick handoff to Foreman off the right side, and Bulls inside the 10 to about the 8-yard line. That's the fastest quick opening play we've seen today on either side. And it's going to be 1st down and goal to go now for the Minnesota Vikings. 1st and goal to go with 9:20 remaining in the game. The Bears 14, the Vikings 6.
1st down and 8 to go for the Minnesota Vikings for a TD and some late scores here. We got time? No, we better go, Jack.
All right, Foreman has 40 yards now in 14 carries. Here's the snap, the handoff to Foreman again, and the big guy starts on the right side as he tries to cut back. It's not going to work this time because the left side of that Bear defense was really ready for him on this one.
That's right. Mike Hartenstein forced him inside when he wanted to go wide, and then our old friend Ridalch was right there to clean up and make the tackle. So there was practically no gain on that play for the great running back Chuck Foreman. Here's another score of interest to our Bear fans. The 4th quarter, Detroit 24, Green Bay 6. That's very important in our division.
Certainly is. 2nd down, goal to go. The ball is on the 8-yard line. Here's Tarkinen looking for his receiver. Throws over the middle, and it was almost intercepted by Clemens. There's a flag down on this play. The target was Foreman. Let's see what we got in the way of a call here. There was a flag down at about the 2-yard line. Are they going to rule interference against the Bears? Oh, brother. Big play, a big play indeed for the Minnesota Vikings. Well, this same play gave the Bears a score a little while ago. Now what? Pass interference. And the pass has been ruled complete. It was intended for Foreman. A couple of Bears were ganging up on him on the play. And so the ball is just inside the 2-yard line. Called it 1.5. As Minnesota comes up to that line with a fresh set of downs, 1st and goal to go. Here's the snap. It's McClanahan, and no gain on this play. Brent McClanahan, smeared by several of the Bears on the play. Never was brought to the ground, however. Brought to a standing stop, and several fellows got in on it. Can't give anybody any one person the tackle on this one, although Brubacher was the first man to make contact with him. They actually lost a half-yard on the play. It's now 2nd down, goal to go with the ball on the 2-yard line. Wouldn't it be something if the Bears held here, Cup?
This would be a little short of a miracle. Give Bryant an assist on that last play.
Okay. Here's the snap. It's Foreman, and he tries to dive. Wait, it's a fake, and Tarkinen on a keeper goes in, and he fooled everybody, including this broadcaster, as Foreman faked the take, made a high dive into the right side, and Tarkinen on a keeper went racing around the left side, and not a soul was near him on the play. Man, he could have walked the last couple of yards of that run.
That's about the way he did. He practically walked in there. The right end was pulled completely by the Bears. He was rushing in there in an effort to help what he thought was an inside play, and of course the old bamboozler, Fran Tarkington, had the ball.
Foreman left his feet on that fake and went diving high into the right side, and brother, they really made that one work. 7:42 to go in the game now as Cox attempts the conversion. It's up. It is perfect. And the score now is the Bears 14, the Vikings 13. Back with the kickoff in just a minute.
If all you need is money, come on into HFC. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
We're Household Finance, and last year we helped over 2 million people get the most out of life. For some, it was a dream vacation. For others, a stereo system, a snowmobile, or the car they really wanted. But we found a way to help them all. So,
come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
HFC, an equal opportunity lender.
So come on in. Come on in. Come on in to HFC.
Household Finance, where people use our money to get the most out of life.
Come on in to HFC.
At Household Finance Corporation, you may borrow up to $10,000 on a wide variety of repayment plans. HFC has 65 offices in the Chicago area. See your phone book.
All right, we have Miami leading New England 10-3 in the third quarter. Pittsburgh 3, San Diego nothing in the fourth quarter. Detroit 24, Green Bay 6 in the fourth quarter. New Orleans and Atlanta 14-14 in the fourth quarter. Kansas City 6, Tampa nothing in the third quarter. New York Jets 16, Buffalo 14 in the fourth quarter. Philadelphia 10, the New York Giants nothing in the fourth quarter, and St. Louis still leading San Francisco 7-6 in the second quarter.
So Fran Tarkington, the number 5 passer in the National Football Conference, going into the action today, proved he can also be a nifty runner. There's a very, very bad kickoff. It's taken up front by Adam Lee at the 31-yard line. It actually was almost caught on the instep by Cox, and as a result, the ball was squirting off to the left. So it was not intended to be an onside kick. It wasn't intended to be a low kick, I'm sure. He was just trying to get that good foot on the ball, and he missed it. So the Bears wind up with the football now at the 32-yard line. 7:36 to go in this football game. 1st and 10 for the Chicago Bears, who lead the Vikings. A tissue paper lead, 14-13. We've got a real fingernail biter on our hands here today, folks. As wide to the left now is Bo Rather. Split out here to the right is Scott. Adam Lee goes in motion to the left. Musso is the single backfield man. The ball goes to Johnny at off left tackle. He goes. He gets himself a little yardage. Squirts across the 35 to the 37.5-yard line.
Good block by the Chicago Bears there. Our old friend Matt Blair coming over from his left linebacker position finally made the tackle. Mr. Blair must have made about 10 or 12 tackles single-handedly so far today.
2nd down 4, 6 yards on that play by the Bears. Out of the huddle they come. Schubert is wide to the left now, and Scott out here to the right. He seems to be alternating Schubert and Bo Rather now. Here is a fake handoff, a pass on the flat back of the line of scrimmage to Scott, and he's going to be lucky if he gets 3 yards on this one, because even though he caught the ball, he was almost smeared back of the line of scrimmage. He had no blocking going for him, and he did manage to worm his way up to the 40-yard line after catching the pass.
But the Sutherland and Page, who came out here to protect against the screen, were right on top. That play demands perfect timing. As soon as the man catches the ball, the blocker's got to be there to pick off the defensive man. They were not there on that occasion, and so Sutherland and Page, the left tackle and left end for the Vikings, were right there to stop the play.
WGN Radio Chicago. The Bears 14, the Vikings 13. 3rd down, 2 at the 40. The handoff goes now to Musso. He's got his first down. Spins away from a would-be tackler at the line of scrimmage, and were it not for the linebacker, he might have gone for very important yardage. As it is, he moved the ball across the 45-yard line to the 46. First down for the Bears.
What the Bears want to do now is keep possession of that ball, and with runners like Musso and Adam Lee, they can do that, even though they're not breakaway runners. It's a great tribute to the Bear offensive line to open the holes so that runners like Musso and Adam Lee can pick up that yardage. Meanwhile, the Vikings are still playing their conservative, straightforward defense, no fancy tricks, just four great men up front there doing the best they can, and that's pretty good.
Bashnagel wide to the left on the play. A quick opener to Adam Lee, and Little Mike moves that ball very close to midfield on this play as he moves into the left side of the line with Lionel Antoine, the key man, blocking for him in that side.
And Mr. Wally Hilgenberg once again, and Monty Blair both were in there to make the stopper on that particular play.
Well, it seems to me that Pardee is using Rather and Bashnagel and Schubert all as one of the flanker positions, and now he's got Bo Rather, the fellow carried in the play. Musso and Adam Lee are still in the backfield for Chicago. Here's the handoff. It goes to Musso, head down right, into the right side, the right guard position, and he is really brought to a big stop. It's going to be very, very close as to whether he made even a yard on the play. The ball is very near the midfield stripe, but the Minnesota defense, the Purple People Eaters, just about proved it on that one.
Right, especially Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker. Nobody picked him off as he's supposed to do on that particular play. They couldn't get to him fast enough, and so he and Wright were right there to stop the play pretty cold. It's now 3rd down 6, Jack.
4 minutes and 30 seconds to go in this football game, and of course these running plays use up about 25 to 30 seconds on the clock. Here's Avellini trying a little ball control. He throws the pass, and it's incomplete. The target was Scott inside the 40 at about the 37-yard line. And now Jeff Seaman is yelling to the official, and so Scott. So both the Minnesota defender and the Bear offensive man are complaining about the other's conduct on that play.
They thought there was some pushing and shoving on that play by both sides, but the officials called neither. And that might be a very important 3rd down that we missed, Jack, because if the Bears made the 1st down and kept possession of that ball, they'd be a lot safer than they are now, where they have to give up possession. Possession is the most important thing for the Bears, with 4 minutes and some seconds left to play.
Well, the one thing they've got is that Parsons has the wind with him on the boot. And dropping back now is Willis, flanked on the left by Grimm on this play, and on the right over there by Minnesota's Audrey Beeman. And there's the boot is very high, and it is a fair catch at the 16-yard line. A fair catch by Willis. That ball hung up there beautifully, a 34-yard boot net from scrimmage. You didn't want a lot of yardage. You wanted a lot of hang time on that one, and that's what they got. So now the Bears fans here are personally trying to inject enough support into that defense down there to get them the ability to do the job from here on out. The clock shows 4:10 to go in this football game, and the Bears have themselves a 14-13 lead. The Vikings have the football. One of the great generals in the history of the game, Fran Tarkenton, brings his Vikings up to the line. The line of scrimmage is the 16-yard line. They're 84 yards away from a score, and back goes Fran now. He throws way up here, and it's over the head of everybody, including Grimm. He was trying for a bomb, it looked like, on the very first play.
Yes, he was, and Mr. Ellis was right there with him. He wasn't going to let anybody get too far away from him. Virgil Livers, I should say, not Ellis. Virgil Livers, who is a short, stocky, and very fast young man who was right on top of the receiver at that time. Anyway, 17 completions and 37 tries for Tarkington, 197 yards.
Second down 10. Second down 10, the line of scrimmage, the 16-yard line. The handoff to Foreman, and he's going to be stopped after a very short gain. No gain to amount to anything on that play by Chuck Foreman. He might have made a yard and a half on it, and the Bears defense did the job again on that one.
Give our Mr. Rydal's credit once again. The third quarter, the third tackle on the Bears squad. He's been having a hell of a day. Here he comes off the field to a great response. He and Chambers were the ones who put the stopper on Foreman on that last play. Now a crucial play, Jack.
Third down 8, and Tarkenton cannot hear. The crowd's too loud, and so we have an official's timeout here while they implore the crowd to kind of quiet a little bit, cool it. We don't have the attendance figure, but it has to be probably around 55,000 here today.
Yes, I might even a little more perhaps, Jack. I think capacity is 57, and as Rosenberg says, they're still coming in. Maybe they'll reach that 57,000.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Giants today 10-0. Cup. We'll wrap up all the scores, and our guest is to be Den Obradovich after the ball game. And that'll be followed by Let's Talk Sports with Mike Pyle and Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau. So stick around for that one. Okay, 3rd down 8. Here's the big play now. Here's Tarkenton. He looks for a receiver, and he's got one. He hits his man. It is McClanahan. He hits him at the 35, and he slides across the 40. And so the Chicago Bears, once again, defensively, are unable to stop that 3rd down efficiency effort. Bryant is slow getting up on the play. 22 yards net to the Vikings on that play.
Very, very decisive play, because had the Minnesota Vikings been forced to give up that play, give up the ball in that situation, the Bears would have possession with only 3 minutes left to play, and maybe they could stall that out without returning the ball. But now the Minnesota Vikings are on the march. They have a 1st down 10 on their own, on the 42-yard line, and the Bears are going to be desperate to stop them. All they have to do is get within field goal range for Mr. Cox, who's a superb field goal kicker. They're only 1 point behind, so of course a field goal can win the ball game for them.
Cup, let's have a little secret survey in the booth here among Rosenberg and you and me and Arnie and our floating coordinator Howard Mendelson and our station manager Bob Henley, who happens to be visiting here today. And let's see which Bear, in your opinion, will make the interception on this march that will turn the ball over to Chicago and win this game.
Doug Buffone up in the press box here. Somebody's coming off the field, Jack.
Wayman Bryant.
Bryant, who's playing a very fine game today. He certainly has made amends for the performance of last Sunday against Dallas. He's had a good day out here today.
The rookie from Arkansas State is going to replace him, Cup. It's Jerry Muckensturm, who's 6'4", 226, a 23-year-old. And he'll be out there, of course, on the right side, or rather on the left side. Brubacher moving over to the right side. Reeves, the middle linebacker for the Bears. 1st and 10 now with the ball at the 42-yard line. A little less than 3 minutes to go in the football game. Here's Tarkenton with a quick handoff to McClanahan. He gets nowhere on this one as he tries right guard. And everybody in the left side of that Bear line pinches in on him, as do a couple of linebackers.
And particularly Don Reeves, the middle linebacker, who refused to be moved out of his position by 2 attacking Vikings, and he was in position there to make the tackle. And now Wayman Bryant is coming back into the ball game, and so the Bears will be at full force and on defense.
The clock continues to move. It shows 2:28 to go in the football game. 2nd down 8. Here's Tarkenton looking. He throws, and he hits his man at the 47-yard line, way shy of 1st down yardage. However, it is a completed pass, and there is a Viking down on the field, the Viking who caught that pass. And it looks like it might be McClanahan. Somebody, after a gain of 3 yards on the play, on the pass, is shaken up, and I'm pretty sure that might be McClanahan down there, face down on the artificial turf here at Soldier Field. And when play resumes, it's going to be 3rd down and 4.
Jack Plank came in there awfully hard to throw that tackle, injured that man and knocked the wind out of him probably. And Wayman Bryant had a hand in it too, but Plank was the primary man there, and he was safety position and really clobbered him there. Legally, of course, but still a very hard blow. And so the man is still down on the field, possibly just the wind knocked out of him. I don't think anything more serious than that. Anyway, the situation is now 3rd down 4 for the Minnesota Vikings on the 47-yard line. Once again, a key play, Jack. If the Bears can stop this play and force a punt, they're going to be in good position to hold that ball.
Bob Miller has come in to replace Brent McClanahan now at left halfback. That's technically where he is. They're liable to play most any place, however. 3rd down and 4 with the ball at the 47-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. 3rd down 4. Again, a crucial defensive play. Willis wide right. Bob Grimm wide left. Here's the snap. The handoff goes to Miller. He is smeared. He is handled on this play. A gain of maybe a foot or so, no more than a yard. And the Bears defense did the trick that time. Now it's going to be, we're going to have our 2-minute warning now. 4th down and 3 when play resumes. Back with more action in just a minute.
We
don't know how long ago it was that some proud father came back from his solid men of old and described his new car to his son as being solid. But solid is a description that seems to have grown through the years. We just want to remind you that the latest in this continuing series of solid cars, service, and deals awaits your test drive now at your Chicagoland Solid Men of Olds. Want to find out what solid really feels like? Come test drive an Olds today at your Chicagoland Solid Men of Olds. Solid.
To fully appreciate what a solid new car value the all-new Delta 88 really is, you ought to drive one. Why not do it this week at your Chicagoland Solid Men of Old? It's 4th down and 3. The ball at the 48-yard line. The Bears leading Minnesota 14-13. 2 minutes to go in the football game. And so you tell me if they're going to punt.
Not a chance, Jack. They're not going to give up the ball with 2 minutes to play.
At 4th and 3. Now here again is a big play. Here's the snap. Targeting and rolling out to the right. He looks, he throws, and it is picked off. It's intercepted by Plank. He's down at the Bear 39 at the Minnesota 39-yard line. Doug Plank making the interception. And the Bears are going wild on that bench. They're going wild. And that guy is being pounded crazy by his teammates. Doug Plank coming up with a big interception. And that, incidentally, is his 3rd of the year. There's a big play. 1:52 to go in the football game, and they're ruling that he was down at the 41-yard line. The Bears ball, 1st and 10. Adam Lee and Musso still in there. Payton and Harper still on the bench. Ball control, the big answer now. Avellini gets the ball, hands it off now to Adam Lee. Off right tackle he goes, and they're trying like crazy to tackle the ball on him. Boy. Wait a minute now. Timeout has been called by Minnesota. A gain of 3 on the play. Back with more action in just a minute.
200 years has given us something deep inside, has given Marine Corps pride in ourselves, pride in the Corps, and pride in all the Marines stands for.
200 years ago, the Marines had a lot of important things to do, and a few good men got them done. Today, we're still looking for a few good men. Men with ambition, energy, men with the brains and the will to master new skills in fields like electronics, communications, or aircraft maintenance. We're looking for a few good men to do a lot of important things in the United States Marine Corps. Go.
2nd down, 6. Payton's in there now for the Bears. Here's the handoff to Walter. He is going to be smeared. He's going to be tackled for a loss back of the line of scrimmage. Back near the 40-yard line, and once again Minnesota calls timeout. They will have 1 timeout remaining after this one. 1:41 to go in the football game. 1:41. The Bears 14, the Vikings 13. 3rd down and 9 when play resumes. There's a final. The Jets 19, Buffalo 14. There's an upset, Cup.
Oh, I should say, and quite a tribute to the return of Bill Armsberger as the new defensive coach of the Miami Jets. Was that?
Oh, this was the Jets.
Pardon me, New York Jets. Pardon me, New York Jets. Congratulations to them. They finally won a ball game.
But you're on target because Miami's winning 10-3 over New England in the 4th period.
Yeah. But the Jets finally won a ball game, and we're glad to see that for the sake of New York City. New York Jets 19, Buffalo 14, and that's quite a upset. And now they got to get the New York Giants to win a ball game to have a little pro football interest in New York City.
All right, 3rd down and 9 for the Bears. 3rd down, 9. Front man is Adam Lee. The deep man is Musso in the I formation. Here's the snap, the handoff to Johnny Musso. He goes off right guard, and he fights his way down to the 36-yard line. He gets a little yardage on the play. He's a good ball control guy. As a matter of fact, he kind of reminds you of Ronnie Bull, the ball control reliability that Johnny Musso has in a spot like this when they try that ball control, when they need to hang on to it with just seconds or a minute or so to go in the game.
That's the man they need. And now, of course, with a 4th down 5, they may go for the field goal. I don't know. They're weighing it. Let's see. Is Thomas coming in there, Jack? He may be for the field goal. He's as good as a punt at this situation with a chance of adding 3 points. Anyway.
Well, Parsons is in there, Cup, because in a spot like this, of course, if they miss the field goal, the ball returns to the original line of scrimmage, which would give Minnesota pretty good field position. It's 4th down and 5. So with 1:36 to go in the football game, 1:36 to go, and the Bears leading 14-13, Parsons will boot the football. Let's see if he aims one for the coffin corner here. Bob Parsons. Minnesota has only one man deep. It's a high pass from center, but he gets it away. It's very high, and it's coming down at about the 5, and it goes into the end zone, so it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. Bob Parsons hung it up there pretty high. It stuck around a while. It's a 36-yard boot net from scrimmage. However, of course, it'll be brought out to the 20-yard line. So now, can the Bears contain Minnesota, who are 80 yards away from a score, with 1:27 to go in this football game? Bears 14, the Vikings 13. And the Bears line up on the defense now as Fran Tarkenton brings his ball club up to the line of scrimmage. Okay, signal being called. There's the snap. Tarkenton back. He's looking for a receiver. He's scrambling back there. He gets ground back to the 5-yard line. Being chased by Rydolph, out of bounds. Out of bounds, way back on the 8-yard line.
But he does stop the clock, Jack, and that's more important to the Minnesota Vikings than the loss of the yardage. Of course, he had nobody open there, and being the smart codger that he is, he got out of bounds to stop the clock.
Well, a 12-yard loss is still a big loss in that spot. They're back on the 8-yard line. That means now, with 2nd down and 22 to go, they are 92 yards away from a score. For the Bears, the rushman, Hartenstein on the left end, Wally Chambers on the right. The inside men are Rydalch and Osborne. The middle linebacker, Reed. Brubacher on the left. Raymond Bryant on the right. There he goes back in the end zone. He throws a screen at the 9-yard line. It's caught here by Miller, and Miller moves the ball up to about the 17 or 18-yard line. Pushed out of bounds on the far side of the field. However, he didn't go out of bounds altogether on that play, and the clock continues to move, and that means we have a timeout now. But not a timeout by Minnesota, just a quick momentary thing by the officials while they can spot the ball. And here goes Tarkenton back. He looks, he throws, and it's batted down by Hartenstein. Hartenstein of the Chicago Bears. Big Mike Hartenstein coming up with a real big play. It's going to be 4th and 11 now. 51 seconds to go. 4th and 11. The ball is on the 19-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears leading 14-13.
And little did Mike know that if he hadn't batted that ball down, that Brubaker might have had another interception because he was right in front of the intended receiver. Anyway, Jack, 4th and 11.
All right, a real big play. Grimm wide to the left. Willis way out there to the right. Here is Tarkenton back again. He looks, he throws up the middle, and it is incomplete. No, there's a flag down at the 30. There's a flag down at the 30-yard line. Let's see just what this one's all about. A flag down at the 30, and the Bears are surrounding the official on this one. And it looks like we have pass interference against the Bears. 45 seconds to go. The ball is going to be 1st and 10, Minnesota at the 30-yard line. There is a real tough one to swallow. This makes things very nervous indeed, because they had their 4th down incomplete pass. If that play holds up, Grimm wide left. Willis wide to the right. Here again is Tarkenton dropping back to the 20. The rush is on. He throws a wobbly pass, but it's caught by Foreman, who steps out of bounds at the 37-yard line. A pretty good gain on the play. They're going to get themselves about 7 or 8 on that play. Call it 2nd down now. 3 yards to go for the 1st down with the ball at the 37-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. 40 seconds to go in this football game, and of course that stopped the clock. Foreman has caught 6 passes today for 55 yards. 40 seconds to go in the football game. Here's the snap. Once again, Tarkenton tries to find somebody who can put this ball club in field goal range, and there is a good diving catch by Miller. They rule that he caught the ball inbounds. and the Bear bench is screaming their heads off. That's where the play carried. Miller carried right into the Bear bench, and some of the boys had to move out of the way for him. They're in, of course, a drill where they have to keep going 24 seconds now. They're out of timeouts. Here's talking and looking for a receiver. Flag down on this play, and there is an out-of-bounds pass that stops the clock with 16 seconds to go. There were 2 or 3 flags down on this play long before it really began to unfold. And so we have an offside penalty against the Chicago Bears. Oh, boy. Offside against the Bears. Now, if you can see, Tarkenton only needs field goal range. The wind is a stiff one against whoever's kicking, Cox. If he does kick, the ball has now been pushed to the 46-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The Bears 14, the Vikings 13. First down. And 5 yards to go. First down and 5. Reeves in, Bryant in, and Libers in. They have been on the sidelines conferring with the coaches.
And Jack, 16 seconds left to play with no times out for Minnesota.
All right. Rim wide to the right. Foot away to the left here is Rather. Here's the snap. Once again, Tarkenton gives ground. He rules to the right. He moves. He finally throws the ball. And it is a diving effort, but no catch by Willis. And it goes as an incomplete pass. As a matter of fact, he had his hands on the ball for a little while, and had they ruled catch, then the Bears would own the football because he fumbled it when he hit the ground, and it was picked up by the Bears. However, 6 seconds to go in the football game on second down and 5. 6 seconds. The ball is on the 46-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The Bear defense needing to hold for another play now. WGN Radio Chicago, one of the most thrilling sports contests of the year, roaring to a finish here at Soldiers Field before a capacity crowd. Minnesota Vikings huddling between the 35 and 40-yard line. They break the huddle now. 4 men on the rush for the Bears. They're all lined up. Again, Willis wide right and Grimm wide left. Here's Tarkenton dropping back. He looks, he throws a lob pass. It's to Foreman at the 45. He's in midfield. The 45, the 42. He's down. It's all over. The clock has expired. The Bears have won the game.
Let's say that Don Reeves and Weymouth Bryant just made the most important tackle of the day. They brought Foreman down on that pass play, which ended the ball game with the Bears a 14-13 victory. Thus, they got even for their 1-point defeat in Minnesota 3 weeks ago.
Oh, what a finish. What a finish. People still standing around here. They don't even want to leave, a lot of them. They're standing around savoring this finish tonight as the Bears leave this field and go to the dressing room with one of the great wins in recent years for a Chicago Bear team who's lost 8 in a row to the Minnesota Vikings, but not today, thank you. The gun has ended the game. The final score, the Bears 14, the Vikings 13. We'll be back with Cup's recap in just a minute.
What makes Old Style a great light beer? Where it's brewed and how it's brewed. That's why Old Style is double brewed in God's country, where the water is crystal clear and flows from springs deep beneath the floor of a beautiful valley, some say all the way from Canada. With water this pure, when you brew a beer once, you've got a good beer. But when you brew a beer twice, you've got a great light beer. This double brewing process is called krausening. Krausening is a traditional old-world process, the most natural way to brew beer, and the most expensive. Try Old Style, pure brewed in God's country.
G. Heilemann Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mr. Irv Kupsonet with a real labor of love. The recap on this one, Kup.
Brother, what an exciting ball game here as the Bears surprised everybody, particularly those experts who said that the Minnesota Vikings were a 10-point favorite. They may have been going in, but not coming out. They were a 1-point underdog at the end of the game. The Bears 14, Minnesota 13. The Bears came into the second half leading 7-3, and Cox added a 24-yard field goal, his second one of the day, to make it 7-6 for the Chicago Bears. Then the Bears got a break when Nate Wright was called for pass interference, and the Bears had the ball with a third down on the 3-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. On the third down situation, Musso ran off tackle, fumbled the ball into the end zone. Reeve Sorry, a lineman, recovered it in the end zone for a TD to make the score 13-6. Thomas converted to make it 14-6. And then another pass interference, this time on the Chicago Bears. Bears gave the Vikings great position, and on a second down situation, Fran Tarkington on a keeper circled left end for an easy touchdown to make it 14-12. Cox converted to make it 14-13. But then the fun was only beginning as the Bears fought to hold off the Vikings, and the Vikings fought to get back into scoring territory. We had thrills galore out here, but finally the Bear defense prevailed, and it was the Bears 14 for 13 for the Vikings. The Bears now have a 500 average. They're 4-4. The Minnesota Vikings, on the other hand, came into this game the only undefeated team in the league, and now they have one defeat to go with their one tie and 6 victories. They're still well ahead in our division, but the Bears certainly have indicated that they can play football with the big boys, and it was a great victory today for the Chicago Bears.
Well, Cup, it looks like glory days may be returning for the Chicago Bears. Just how soon, of course, only the future will tell. But anyway, it's fun to think about it, and it's also going to be fun to relive some of the glory days of the Chicago Bears. The last national championship was one of the guys who intercepted one of the key passes in that game, Ed O'Bradovich.
Pray tell.
Big Ed O'Bradovich is going to be our guest on the Pro Football Scoreboard in just a moment or two from now. That's it for now from Soldiers Field, where the Bears beat the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 14-13. This game was brought to you by Household Finance, the company that solved more financial problems for more people than anyone else in their business. So come on into HFC Household Finance. Your Chicagoland solid men of old, they're the guys to see for solid engineering, solid driving comfort, and solid old service and value. That's what makes Oldsmobile a solid Oldsmobile. And by the G. Hardeman Brewing Company of La Crosse, Wisconsin, makers of Old Style, the pure brewed beer from God's country. Now this is Jack Brickhouse saying thanks a lot to Cup, to our producer Jack Rosenberg, our director Jack Minovich, our statistician Arnie Harris, our engineer Don Albert, reminding you to be with us next Sunday at 12:30 when the Bears take on the Oakland Raiders. Stay with us now for, as we said, the Football Scoreboard Show, our guest Ed O'Bradovich, and that'll be followed by the News and Sports Sunday with Mike Pyle, Vince Lloyd, and Lou Boudreau, followed by the Sports Writers. This has been a presentation of WGN Sports.
Today's episode is brought to you by thisdayintheNFL.com. Celebrating football's greatest moments, one day at a time. Listen to classic broadcasts, explore historic games, and keep the legacy of the NFL alive at thisdayintheNFL.com.